give the hometown perspective on the game each week, myself, Steve, and Garrett on the pregame show. Well, gents, that is another FC Dallas agenda, and we will hope to talk to you again 3 points from now. Have a good week, everyone, and we will see you at the weekend.
Following is a presentation of the FC Dallas Radio Network.
Out wide right with Ladero onto his favorite left foot. Finds Jack McGlynn centrally. Just hit the post moments ago. No whistle as Musa got a tug of the jersey. We play on. Ball in behind for Julio. Foot race here. Anderson, Julio, past Tarbell. Empty net. Anderson, Julio!
For the only time in the month of April, FC Dallas will take the pitch at Toyota Stadium tonight. Their last game in Frisco saw the Toros pick up their first home win of the season against Sporting Kansas City, which would end up being the last game in charge for longtime KC manager Peter Vermees. A much different opponent rolls into Fortress Frisco tonight as the Seattle Sounders make their only trip to North Texas this season. It's also the return of longtime Dallas superstar Jesus Ferreira after an offseason trade to the Pacific Northwest. 3 more points are on the line for Dallas as they take on longtime foe Seattle. Along the lines of the FC Dallas Radio Network, it is the FC Dallas pregame show presented by your local Toyota dealer, Toyota. Let's go places. On tonight's presentation, we'll have the sounds of tonight's match. Your broadcast team for the evening, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis, will join me to break down the important tactics and storylines of tonight's matchup. But as we always do on home matches, we welcome into the show the FC Dallas Insider. You can find his work at FCDallas.com and on the FC Dallas Agenda every Wednesday on the FC Dallas Radio Network podcast feed. It is the great Garrett Meltzer. Garrett, it's good to see you for the only time we're going to see you this month.
Good to see you too, Sam.
Well, obviously, not great injury news again this week. First, it was Marco Farfan. Now it's Sebastian Lletget. He's going to be out. It looks to be an extended time with a bit of an injury. What can you tell us about that, and what does that mean for the roster going forward?
Yeah, unfortunately, Sebastian Lletget picked up a hamstring injury in training this week, and the prognosis is about 8 weeks out. So that's pretty long in terms of a hamstring tweak, unfortunately. And it's something that he's dealt with in the past. And the good thing is he usually comes out of that playing pretty well. He's a very consistent player, so nothing too bad in terms of long term, but what it means is more opportunities for the other midfielders, namely Kaique, Paxton Delgado, and even young Diego Garcia. So excited to see some of those guys get some more minutes over the next month or two.
Well, let's talk about that lineup. Sans Sebastian Lletget, it's Martin Paz in net, Nolan Norris, Osaze Uriguide, Sebastian Ibiaga, and Shaq Moore on the back line, Kaique and Ramiro Benetti in the midfield, Patrickson, Lucho Acosta, Anderson Julio supporting Pedro Musa up top. And as you mentioned, Kaique gets the first crack at that opportunity. He's made his MLS debut now, but this is his first start in his third appearance. Are you a little bit surprised that it's this early? Eric Quill yesterday was not at all. He fully expected it, but he's also a very supportive head coach.
I would be a little surprised if it weren't for the Lletget injury, but now that Lletget's out for a little while, I'm not surprised, and that's mostly because of how high the coaching staff and even before them, the scouting staff was on Kaique coming out of Brazil, a super high ceiling player, and I think the most important thing is seeing how much he progressed and developed from just the first game where he was a late sub and he looked a little bit overeager at times, but was very energetic. But then the second game last week in Atlanta, he looked much more calm. Still got around the field, still put tackles in and got on the ball, but he looked much more composed and much more comfortable out there. And look, he's only 19. Last game was only his third professional game. He played a lot of the youth leagues in Brazil. So he's growing very quickly, and I expect him to hit the ground running.
Yeah, his performance last week against Atlanta showed a lot of why Dallas spent $4 million to Gremio to bring him on board. And a familiar name back in the lineup tonight, Anderson Julio, who was in the 20 and did come on last week, but he returns to the starting lineup after his green card adventure back to Ecuador. And that's a big ad for Dallas, who, with all due respect to Leo Chu, who was the second striker that night, it just wasn't the same as Julio.
Yeah, Leo Chu is not really a second striker, much more of an out-and-out winger than Anderson Julio is. And yeah, I'm so excited to see him in this formation because, like Eric Quill told us yesterday, he sees Julio as more of a second striker than a winger. That's where he had most of his success for Real Salt Lake, especially last season, 13 goals, and a lot of that was off the bench. So he's an electric player. And, looking at earlier this season and into preseason, he was probably Dallas's most electrifying player. He scored a lot of goals in preseason, scored the first goal of the season in Houston, a really, really great solo goal for him. And I think the timing of his green card appointment was pretty unfortunate because he was really flying. But, it's a green card. Whenever you get your appointment, you go and get that done because it opens up a lot of roster flexibility. So great to have that under his belt now and great to get him back. And I'm so excited to see him in this formation. I think this is really tailor-made for him specifically.
Well, a guy that we were always excited to see is Petar Musa. And we had a pretty extensive discussion on the FC Dallas agenda this week, which you can find in your podcast feed right now, though please find it after the game and after the post-game show. But talking about how he's the MVP of this team so far, and it's a pretty comprehensive case. But what do you think really is doing it for the Croatian striker, for those who maybe didn't hear it just yet?
Yeah, I think just being more comfortable. Look, he was great last season in a team that wasn't all that good. He scored 16 goals, the best debut season in FC Dallas history. But this year he's got a slightly different role, playing a little bit deeper, so he's being on the ball a little bit more and more creative. And honestly, we didn't really know he had that skill set in his locker as well. We kind of thought of him more as a poacher, a guy who would push the line and get in the box and score goals like he did last year, but he's creating this year as well. And, he, so far, 6 goal contributions, 3 goals, 3 assists through 7 games. That's an MVP level player, and, if he keeps this up, it's a big ask, but he's on pace to tie or possibly break the long-time Jason Kreis record of 18 goals, 15 assists back in 1999, the year that Jason Kreis won the MVP. So, that's a very lofty challenge, but I think Petar Musa is up to that challenge.
Man, if Petar Musa won an MVP over the likes of guys like Leo Messi and Ty Barbaro, oh boy, that would be pretty impressive. A guy that may be pushing him for team MVP, though, and maybe my personal pick, man, every week Osaze Urhoghide just keeps giving us reasons to think that he might be arguably one of the best signings in all of MLS. Never mind Dallas this offseason, the best in MLS. But specifically, what is making number 3 so good so far this year?
I think plainly put, he's basically good at everything that you want in a central defender. And the most obvious thing you'll see is, his recovery speed and his strength, bodying players off the ball. He's a physical specimen. He's phenomenal in that respect. But also, his anticipation has really impressed me. His ability to push up out of position, to snuff out danger before the forward gets on the ball, and just kind of destroy a situation before it becomes a dangerous situation. And then even if he doesn't win it there, we know he's got the speed to get back and defend. But also on the ball, he's been really, really good. And I think most importantly, his long passing out of the back, that's something that Dallas hasn't had in a very long time. And he's helped create goals from that situation. If you think back to Leo Chu's goal against SKC, he started that with a long ball to Sebastian Lletget. So he just got everything. And I think the most important thing is that he makes the other players around him play better. And if you're a central defender who can do that, that's going to help the entire back line. And that's what he's done so far.
And one of those guys that is better because Osaze is out there is Nolan Norris, who gets another start at left back, because right now he is the left back with Marco Farfan out with his compartment syndrome. And to his credit, Nolan is really rewarding Eric Quill's faith. He has answered the bell twice. He's going to have to do it again tonight, but I think we both feel a lot more confident after these first 2 performances.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Nolan's done really well in his first 2 games. And look, we always knew he was super talented. We've known that since he was a U13 first joining the academy. He's been one of those guys that academy coaches would point out and say, look, this guy's got it potentially at the professional level, and Nolan's got the work ethic to get there. The only thing is, once he did get there, he didn't have a ton of opportunities with the first team, and some of that was down to maybe a lack of knowing exactly what his position would be. The previous coaching staff thought he would be more of a midfielder, potentially even a center back. So, they weren't really sure. There were a lot of players ahead of him, didn't really get a run out. Eric Quill says, look, I think you're a left back. That's the position you played growing up. That's the position you play for youth national teams, the U.S. men's youth national teams. Done really well there. And look, now the opportunity comes, and he's taking it. So I'm really excited for him, and I still think there's a ton of room to grow, because what we haven't seen from Nolan, we've seen him defend well. We knew we could do that. What he can also do is play out. He's got a fantastic left foot, a fantastic switch of play in him. We haven't seen that too much, and I'm really excited to see that, because if both players on the left side, Urhoghide and the center back and Nolan Norris, can both hit a long ball, that's a really dangerous switch of play for FC Dallas.
And we've seen it in training the last couple of years. He just hasn't gotten the chance to show it off between the lines here at Toyota Stadium and beyond. So I'm also excited for not just us to be seeing it, but for the rest of the world too. Well, speaking of what we're going to see tonight, the Seattle Sounders are in town. And let's start with the big picture here. Seattle has always been one of those teams that they're almost a possum. They lay low until they get good. Well, this year we're still in the lay low period, but a lot of people are afraid. In their last 14 here at Toyota Stadium specifically, Dallas has had the upper hand. This feels like a real big opportunity for Eric Quill's team to get their second home win, because this is not your older brother, Seattle.
No, that's true. And this is one of those matchups where it seems like the home team usually comes out on top. And we know that FC Dallas struggles a lot at Lumen Field up in Seattle. But FC Dallas usually gets the win here, or at least the draw against Seattle. And yeah, like you said, they're starting very slow. That's kind of what Seattle does in the last 4 to 5 years, really. Brian Schmetzer kind of understands that. Look, the results in the first quarter of the season don't matter that much. It's really more about building a system and building a group that can compete in the late summer and especially the fall when the playoffs come around. And that's what they do so well. They almost always make a deep run, and they almost always start slow. So I'm sure this is all going to plan so far for Brian Schmetzer.
Well, he didn't seem as optimistic as you were in media the upcoming week, but one of the players he's hopefully optimistic about is the guy that's warming up right in front of us right now, and that's Jesus Ferreira, who has spent many a minute on this Toyota Stadium pitch, 50-plus goals, arguably the most successful Dallas homegrown of all time, although I guess Ricardo Pepi might have something to say about that since he's played in the Champions League. But this is a big moment for Jesus to come back. He did a ton of media talking about how he's excited to come back. What do you think the reception is going to be for a guy like Jesus Ferreira, that obviously an all-time great in FC Dallas history, but maybe the end of the tenure wasn't as fun as the beginning of the tenure?
I mean, it's always a strange one, a superstar coming back to where he played and where he grew up. But I do think the reception will be positive on the whole, I would say. I mean, if you think about it, he wasn't just a great player who came here and then did well and left. He grew up here. He joined the club as an 8-year-old. That's so young. He spent basically his entire life here, and he did really well here. He broke numerous FC Dallas records and a couple league records as well, and also, most importantly, became the first active FC Dallas player to play in the World Cup. I mean, that's a phenomenal achievement. And I will say, I think he left in the best way possible. Like, you're never going to leave perfectly, of course, but he kind of waited until the end of a cycle. The end of a coaching staff was moving out. There was going to be a rebuild. He had kind of stagnated a bit. The team had kind of stagnated. It did feel like the right time for both parties to move on. And he and the club did it amicably. They worked together to find another place for him to play. Unfortunately, the best deal that they got was with Seattle, a team that FC Dallas doesn't love so much in terms of a conference rival, and someone that Dallas has unfortunately departed the playoffs to a couple times in the last few years. But on the whole, I think he left in the right way. So I do think the reception will be positive overall here at Toyota Stadium.
And for those listeners curious about it, FC DNA this week on the FC Dallas YouTube is all about Leo Chu coming in, the Jesus Ferreira trade in general. So if you're looking for more, including Andre Zanata having some very interesting things to say, I had to recommend that. But that is Garrett Meltzer, who always has interesting things to say, regardless of YouTube or otherwise. You can find his work on FCDallas.com. You can hear him every Wednesday on the FC Dallas Agenda podcast, and you'll also hear him at halftime tonight with Steve Davis. Garrett, thank you, sir. We'll see you at halftime.
Thanks for having me, Sam.
When we return here on the FC Dallas pregame show, we'll have the sounds of tonight's match. This is FC Dallas Soccer presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
So, what'd you do this weekend?
Well, just took the Tacoma off-road, deep into the woods, got to this hidden campsite only it could reach.
Nice. I hooked up the boat to the Tundra and hit up the lake. Towed it like a pro. Had the whole lake to ourselves.
Hey, wait, did I mention I went rock climbing too? Uh-huh, yeah, thanks to the Tacoma's crawl control.
Well, sounds like we both had fun weekends.
Mine was better.
The Toyota Tundra and Tacoma are built for all the fun. Test drive at your local Toyota dealer or visit Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. Feature availability differs based on trim. See Toyota.com for details.
Want to hear something incredible? That's Eleanor. Just 10 hours after being born, Eleanor was airlifted to Children's Health and met by our expert team trained in cardiac and critical care. At 4 days old, she received a stent to help her heart pump blood to the rest of her body. And today, she's a happy, healthy 1-year-old. That's incredible. That's Children's Health. Incredible together.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hi, Hi, everyone. It's Logan Farrington, and you're listening to FC Dallas Soccer on the FC Dallas app.
Winner, winner, Chick-fil-A dinner. All season long when FC Dallas wins at home, fans win free Chick-fil-A. Be sure your Chick-fil-A app is up to date. Location services are turned on when you attend matches at Toyota Stadium. After the team wins, before you leave your seats, open the app to redeem the Chick-fil-A offer. Welcome back to the FC Dallas pregame shows. We're getting you ready for FC Dallas versus Seattle Sounders tonight, and it's presented by Toyota. In our next segment, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis will join me to help break down tonight's starting lineups, the tactics, everything you need to know ahead of tonight's rivalry matchup between FC Dallas and Seattle. And also, while we have a moment, let me tell you about the FC Dallas Radio Network podcast feed, which is available for free everywhere you get podcasts. Of course, you'll find our signature postgame show there, where you'll get detailed match breakdown, what happened, why it matters, everything you need to know about the match that was in or around about 30 minutes. But also, starting this year, it's the FC Dallas Agenda. It drops every Wednesday morning. Garrett, Ryan, and Steve break down the big events coming out of those games, what you need to know. We hear from the newsmakers. For instance, Nolan Norris joined us this past week. We've had Eric Quill, Andre Zanata, Usazi Uragide, Petter Musa, Martin Paz. We have had anyone that's anyone will join the FC Dallas Agenda podcast, and it drops every Wednesday morning. So what you need to do, go to your podcast provider of choice, type in FC Dallas Radio Network, and hit subscribe. So when all that good content comes at you, you don't miss a single second. But now let's get you to the sounds of tonight's match. And tonight's edition features both head coaches, FC Dallas's Eric Quill and Seattle's Brian Schmetzer, along with Dallas forward Leo Chu and former Dallas forward and current Seattle star Jesus Ferreira.
Stay consistent in our habits that we're developing, which is making sure we start the game fast and aggressive, with a lot of belief in ourselves and each other, and compete throughout. Don't have lulls where you let the game slip away and give momentum plays away. And so there's a lot of variables that go into consistency, and right now we're showing signs of what consistency looks like. And I want the same, and they want the same. So I expect a hunger in their belly, being at home in front of our crowd. So a lot of motivation on the line, and we need 3 points to keep climbing the table.
Yes, I'm so excited to play against Seattle. It's like long years together, and they're going to be really, really fun to play against them. Yeah, I've been working hard the whole weekend, but this game for me have something different, face against my old team. So these 2 games, away and at home this season, going to be very emotional for me on the field.
Musa and Acosta are really good players. I mean, they spent a lot of money, both of those guys. Musa's a big, tall, classic number 9. Acosta's a classic 10, moves all over the field. But you've got some experienced guys that have been playing pretty well. The new defender's okay. It's a good team.
Leo Chu as well.
Leo Chu. Don't forget Leo Chu.
Yeah, it's a little tough because it doesn't seem real yet. I feel like once I'm in the flight and touchdown in Dallas, it'll be a little bit more real. But for me, I've always said I've always have love for Dallas. But at this moment in time, we're gonna try and do everything in our power to come out with the 3 points. We're gonna try to go out there and dominate. Because I think that's what we need right now in our season to kind of flip it. I think if we can get one good win with the domination that we know that we can do whenever we play our style, whenever we play the way that we can play, and everybody's at their rating 10, like I say it, we can dominate teams. For me, first I want to score goals. So let me just be clear there. It's not like I don't want to or want to assist. So that's my number one thought. Like I always tell Obed, he's my roommate, I'm like, today's the day that I'm gonna score, I'm gonna have a chance. That's always in my mind. And so as a team, as a collective, we want to go out there and dominate and come back with the 3 points. I think that it'll be huge for us. That we know that Dallas is up there in the table, and they're playing good games, and they're getting results, which is important. So us coming out there and getting a result, it will be huge for us.
When we return here on the FC Dallas pregame show, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis will join us to break down tonight's match. This is FC Dallas Soccer presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And a spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
Welcome to the world of WinStar, the casino of FC Dallas, where 10,000 electronic games plus roulette, craps, and blackjack is just the beginning. Get lost in our 2-story luxury spa. Enjoy 36 holes of championship golf and catch the biggest names in music and comedy at the spectacular Lucas Oil Live, all just 1 hour north of DFW. So come live in the wow at the world of WinStar.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hi everyone, it's Sebastian Leggett, and you're listening to FC Dallas Soccer on the FC Dallas app.
Welcome back to the FC Dallas pregame show presented by Toyota. Got about 20 minutes until kickoff from here at Toyota Stadium. So let's go ahead and bring you tonight's starting lineups, which are brought to you this evening by AdvoCare. We'll start first with the Seattle Sounders and ninth-year head coach Brian Schmetzer. It's Stephen Fry in net for the Sounders, Nuhu, Jackson Reagan, and Yamar on the back line, Paul Rothrock, Christian Roldan, Obed Vargas, and Kalani Koso-Renzi in the midfield. Danny Masovsky is flanked by Pedro de la Vega on the right and Jesus Ferreira on the left. Now let's bring you the starting 11 for FC Dallas and first-year manager Eric Quill.
Marta Paz, goalkeeper, University of Amsterdam.
Shaq Moore, right back, Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Sebastian Ibiaga, center back, Duke University.
Osaze Origide, center back, Netherlands, Nijmegen.
Nolan Norris, midfielder, Fort Worth, Texas.
Ramiro Benetti, midfielder, Brazil.
Kaique, midfield, Brazil.
Patrickson, mediocampista, Ecuador.
Luciano Costa, midfielder, I'm from Argentina.
Anderson Julio, soy delantero y soy de Quito, Ecuador.
Petar Musa, forward, from Zagreb, Croatia.
And the subs tonight for Dallas: Lalo Abubakar, Leo Chu, Siki and Sabaling, Pedrinho, Show, Logan Farrington, Michael Colodi, Diego Garcia, and Bernard Camungo. And we bring in the voices of tonight's broadcast, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis. And Steve, I think you made a very good point in pregame that the audience needs to hear. Obviously, the fans see Seattle as a bogey team, especially at Lumen Field. But A, definitely not this year in general, and B, specifically, not at Toyota Stadium.
Yeah, I think the narrative gets a little skewed because, yes, FC Dallas has not had a good time up at Lumen Field, as you said, and I think it really gets skewed because Seattle has kicked Dallas out of the playoffs so often. But here in Texas, last 15 times these teams have played, this includes playoffs, FCD is 9-1-5. You know, you'd like a couple of those ties to turn into wins, but, you know, the fact is they've only been beaten once here by Seattle in the last 15 times. So they're actually pretty good against Seattle on this field, and they got to be good again tonight.
And one of those wins was a playoff win just recently, a 3-1 win. That was pretty impressive. They didn't advance, but it was still fun.
Oh, they kicked him out of the playoffs, one of Oscar's first year as well, right here. The Walker Zimmerman penalty kick post game.
My all-time favorite game as a fan.
That's a good choice to have, Ryan. And obviously, you know, one of the things about Dallas is they're getting results right now, and you see the more national media, they don't really know what to do with it because it's kind of weird looking. But right now, Eric Quill is here to win games and get points. He's doing both. It may not look, you know, it may be a little bowling shoe at times, but it's still results-driven, and that's what he needs.
Yeah, the results are definitely there, and I think the quality in the squad is going to bring you results when maybe you aren't at your most fluid or at your best tactically. Now that has to come along in these games over the next month or so. You know, this one at home and then the next 3 on the road, we're going to have to see that the identity start to develop for the team because we know the quality, and if you can combine that quality that's been getting you points already with real, you know, tactical acumen and understanding and chemistry on the field, then you really have something, and you can challenge at the top of the table.
You know, guys, I think it's kind of fascinating because, honestly, neither team is where they want to be right now, right? Now, that said, you know, look, Dallas is getting results, so that's a big but. But Dallas is getting results, so you know you've developed that belief and the you know that fight back from losing positions, and so they're getting good results, even though Eric Quill wants it to look a little better. And I think if you take both those teams not being where they want to be, you'd certainly take Dallas's not exactly where they want to be over Seattle's right now.
Yeah, the team is definitely learning how to win. This specific group is learning how to win. They just need to continue on that path. One guy, unfortunately, that's not going to continue on that path for the foreseeable future is Sebastian Leggett. He's got a hamstring issue that's going to keep him out, as Garrett told us in our first segment, multiple weeks. It looks like it could be up to a couple months. So that means that Eric Quill has, in theory, shifted back to what the 4-2-3-1. Ka'ike comes in next to Romero. But that doesn't mean it's necessarily going to set up all the way like that, does it, Steve Davis?
No, look, I think what you're going to see is it's not going to be a true double pivot with Ka'ike coming in there, sitting next to Romero. A double pivot means one goes, one stays, and it's a pivot. We talked about this yesterday. This is going to be more of a hinge because I think Romero is going to stay. And in fact, even Eric Quill said himself, he called Ka'ike today sort of a 6'8", which means he will be the one going forward. Romero will be the one that stays more in protection. So I think once they get the ball, it'll look just like they did before, because basically before they were defending out of a sort of a 4-4-2. That's how they're going to defend now, with Ka'ike dropping in next to Romero. When they get on the ball, it's going to move into more of the diamond. So I think you have to look really hard to figure out a difference tonight in what they've been playing before.
And, Ryan, this is a big moment for Ka'ike. It's his third appearance in MLS, his fourth senior game in general, factoring in his time at Gremio, and it's his first start. Eric Quill was very bullish on the young man yesterday. He was not surprised in any way. But regardless of the outcome, this is a big moment for Dallas, who spent $4 million on a 19-year-old that had limited senior experience to get the start tonight.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of eyes on him from the front office, from ownership, and just to see what that investment has gotten them. Obviously, it's a long-term investment. You know, if he has a bad game tonight, that doesn't mean it was a failure of a signing. But from what we've seen in the first two appearances off the bench, all of the tools that we thought would be there from the scouting reports that we got have been present. And last week he combined that with some real quality on the ball, 10 out of 10 on his passing, in addition to 4 defensive actions against Atlanta. And as soon as he came on, the energy amongst the team lifted. He helped the team in the build-up to the goal. So he's coming off of a good performance in Atlanta, and this is a huge opportunity now. You know, talk about 4, 6, 8 weeks without Leggett. That extra midfield spot's going to be crucial. Who can lock it down? You've got Ka'ike, you've got Siki and Sablang on the bench tonight. Paxton Pomykal on the men's show we've yet to see this season. There's so many names in contention. It feels like the way that the right wing felt at the start of the season, where it's who's going to nail it down. Ka'ike gets the first opportunity tonight.
I tell you what, guys, it's a worthy test because we talk all the time about Leggett, how he does little things, and one of the things he does is he's very clean on the ball. He's very technical. Ka'ike's got to be clean on the ball tonight because he's playing against a team that if you're not clean on the ball in your own half, they're going to punish you because they're very good in the press, in the counter press.
Before we get to Seattle, Steve, Anderson Julio returns to the starting lineup tonight. We saw him come in against Atlanta, and we saw immediately the energy change, the way that Dallas was able to play change against a team like Seattle, who's in a little bit of disarray and is still trying to figure out their game model. Having a guy like that behind Pedro Musa, or next to Pedro Musa, whatever you want to say, is a huge add for Dallas.
Yeah, it sure is. Look, Leo Chu at that position, a little bit of a fish out of water. You know, he's really more of a winger. Didn't really sort of understand, in real time the runs and the timing. Anderson Julio understands it. So Eric Quill talked to us yesterday about it. The volume of runs, the timing of the runs in that position are going to be better. And there's a little bit of a matchup issue there for Seattle because Jackson Reagan's a very good player. But if they can get Julio matched up with Jackson Reagan in particular, he's going to eat him up because Reagan's a very tough defender, but he doesn't have the speed to match up with Julio. That's the matchup that they're going to be looking for from Dallas' side.
Meanwhile, Ryan, obviously the big story, the return of Jesus Ferreira for his first game here in Frisco since the trade this offseason. And I don't think many of us would have had Leo Chu having more goals than Jesus Ferreira coming into this match. But that's where we are. But this is, kind of a big moment. I'm curious to see how he reacts. What do you think we can expect from Jesus tonight after a bit of a slow start to the season?
Honestly, any outcome is possible tonight for Jesus. We've over the past 12, 18 months, he hasn't been at his very best, but there's not going to be a game where he has more motivation all season than he does tonight, returning to his home, playing in front of his family, playing in front of the team that traded him away. I know he has a lot of love for the organization and for the fans, but there's always going to be a chip on his shoulder coming into tonight. Now, can it click? You got Jordan Morris on the bench. If it doesn't, he's playing in the front three alongside Musovski and De La Vega. I think both he and De La Vega like to play in similar styles, out on the wing, being creative. and that's been sort of the issue for him so far. No Rusnak tonight for Seattle, but he's been sort of struggling to find chemistry with Rusnak and avoiding, tripping over each other in those sort of creative areas of the field. So now the creative burden is kind of at his feet tonight with Musovski in the 11. We'll see if he can step up to the big occasion from a Dallas perspective. You hope that the trade doesn't immediately come back to bite you tonight.
And when he says trip over, he means literally. They had a couple collisions last time they were out together, so he means that quite literally in that case. Well, let's get to tonight's keys to the match for this big Western Conference matchup. Those are presented by Toyota, and for those, I present Steve Davis.
Thank you, Sam. Number one, you got to be clean out of the back for FC Dallas tonight. They're getting results, but the execution in certain places can still improve, and one of those is the way they build out of the back. Seattle, as I mentioned a minute ago, very good pressing team, particularly good in counter press. So those boys, they got to be cautious out of the back and very clean and technical. If they connect those first 3 or 4 passes, then they're on their way. Number two, they need a faster start, because it says a lot about this team's dogged mentality that they're getting results even after falling behind. Eric Quill certainly enjoys that part, but we know the coach wants something different tonight. He said, he told us yesterday, quote, "I'd like to see us get a lead and then keep it." So number two, get a fast start. And number three, back four leading the way. I'm telling you, Shaq, Ibiaga, Osaze, Nolan Norris, they were so good last week. And if they can get that again from the back line, I think they'll win. And at the very least, they're going to be very, very hard to beat tonight. And those are your keys as presented by Toyota.
Thank you, Steve. 2 leaders on the field currently lighting the shield for Dallas. It's Kenny Cooper, senior and junior, out there getting ready to kick this one off as we get ready for FC Dallas versus Seattle here at Toyota Stadium. But that is going to do it for tonight's pregame show. When we return, Ryan and Steve will get you ready for kickoff here. It's FC Dallas. It's Seattle Sounders. It's Jesus Ferreira's first trip back to Toyota Stadium. You're listening to FC Dallas Soccer, presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
So, what'd you do this weekend?
Well, just took the Tacoma off-road, deep into the woods, got to this hidden campsite only it could reach.
Nice. I hooked up the boat to the Tundra and hit up the lake. Towed it like a pro. Had the whole lake to ourselves.
Hey, wait, did I mention I went rock climbing too? Uh-huh, yeah, thanks to the Tacoma's crawl control.
Well, sounds like we both had fun weekends.
Mine was better.
The Toyota Tundra and Tacoma are built for all the fun. Test drive at your local Toyota dealer or visit Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. Feature availability differs based on trim. See Toyota.com for details.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern. The future of medicine sparks here.
Hi everyone, it's Maarten Paas, and you're listening to FC Dallas Soccer on the FC Dallas app.
Well, it's tonight at Toyota Stadium with some extra emotion in the air as the Seattle Sounders are in town, and while that in itself is an annual occurrence, what's new is that they now bring with them one Jesus Ferreira, the Dallas homegrown whose journey began on the fields down to our left at Toyota Soccer Center. It took him as far as the FIFA World Cup in Qatar. But together with the club in the offseason, they decided it was time to go their separate ways. And after that blockbuster trade, he's begun the next leg of his journey in Rave Green. He's played against 29 out of 30 MLS clubs in his career to this point. Tonight, he completes the set with his first ever appearance against his hometown club. On the Dallas side, led by their new number 10, Lucho Acosta, they managed to pick up 7 points over the last 3 games, extending an unbeaten run last week with a 1-1 draw in Atlanta. Tonight's 11 features 2 changes, interesting for different reasons. Anderson Julio in for his first start since the Chicago match at home. He looks to pick up right where he left off, tonight playing in the new Dallas formation for the very first time. And the other swap sees Kaique make his full debut, his first start in Major League Soccer after a couple of cameos off the bench in recent weeks. It's a big opportunity for the Brazilian teenager to nail down the starting spot in the 11 for Eric Quill. I'm Ryan Figert, and tonight I'm joined on the call by the one and only Steve Davis. And Steve, as someone who covered Jesus Ferreira for his entire career, it still feels very strange to see him in Seattle green and blue.
Yeah, it really does. You know, he's still trying to figure it out. They're still trying to figure out what to do with him. He's played some 9, he's played some 10, he's played out wide. He hasn't figured it out. He doesn't have a goal yet. I know there's a lot of appreciation from the crowd for what he did at FC Dallas, but they'd probably appreciate it if he'd wait one more week to score that first goal for Seattle.
Obviously, that change was sort of the catalyst in the offseason that allowed Dallas to rebuild. It wasn't just a like-for-like change with Leo Chu coming the other way, although Leo Chu has done well so far in Dallas colors. over $2 million in allocation money, helped Dallas retool the roster. And Steve, as we're 6-7 games into the season, how do we feel about the retooled roster around one Lucho Acosta?
Yeah, well, obviously the results are pretty good at this point, so you can't complain too much about that. And I'm telling you, I'm just so excited for Passion Pomykal, who's back on the training field, and maybe 2 or 3 weeks away from another appearance, so the roster's going to get even better.
Eric Quill looking for his second home win in charge as he's led the Road Dogs to great success on the road. And we are just a few moments away from kickoff here. FC Dallas facing the Seattle Sounders tonight on the FC Dallas Radio Network. We'll have kickoff and more on the other side of this break.
So, what'd you do this weekend?
Well, just took the Tacoma off-road, deep into the woods, got to this hidden campsite only it could reach.
Nice. I hooked up the boat to the Tundra and hit up the lake. Towed it like a pro. Had the whole lake to ourselves.
Hey, wait, did I mention I went rock climbing too? Uh-huh, yeah, thanks to the Tacoma's crawl control.
Well, sounds like we both had fun weekends.
Mine was better.
The Toyota Tundra and Tacoma are built for all the fun. Test drive at your local Toyota dealer or visit Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. Feature availability differs based on trim. See Toyota.com for details.
Welcome to the world of WinStar, the casino of FC Dallas, where 10,000 electronic games plus roulette, craps, and blackjack is just the beginning. Get lost in our 2-story luxury spa. Enjoy 36 holes of championship golf and catch the biggest names in music and comedy at the spectacular Lucas Oil Live, all just 1 hour north of DFW. So come live in the wow at the world of WinStar.
Want to hear something incredible? That's Eleanor. Just 10 hours after being born, Eleanor was airlifted to Children's Health and met by our expert team trained in cardiac and critical care. At 4 days old, she received a stent to help her heart pump blood to the rest of her body. And today, she's a happy, healthy 1-year-old. That's incredible. That's Children's Health. Incredible together.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
Hi everyone, it's Sebastian Ibiaga. Tonight's FC Dallas match is up next, right here on the FC Dallas app.
Well, the fireworks go off on the far side of Toyota Stadium, and Dallas will hope to set off those fireworks early and often tonight against the Seattle Sounders. And Steve, we talked to Eric Quill just yesterday. It hasn't been great for Dallas in the opening 30 minutes of games this season. They're still yet to score in that opening 30 minutes, but Eric Quill's hoping for a change as early as tonight.
I tell you what, it started great last week in the first 90 seconds. Petar Musa had a couple of opportunities. One of them coming pretty close there on Atlanta's goal at Brad Guzan, but couldn't put those away. So, you put one of those away, that changes the story, or just, as you said, just start a little faster, have a little bit more control over the game over the first 15 minutes or so.
Two of the all-time greats in Major League Soccer shaking hands at the halfway line right now. Stephen Fry, the captain, and the 38-year-old veteran goalkeeper for Seattle. And Lucho Acosta, the Dallas number 10 and captain, going through the coin flip procedures with the referee tonight, Filip Dujic, as the starting 11 just about to be announced here at Toyota Stadium. And Steve, we didn't get to this stat during the pregame show, so I'm going to throw it to you now while we've got some time. Tell me what this says about these two teams and the way the season has gone for them so far this season. Dallas is second best in the Western Conference with big chances, and that means it's shot that's worth over .35 XG. They've got 10 of those versus Seattle, who has the most poor chances, 54 shots worth under .05 XG on the season so far. How do you read that stat coming into the game tonight?
Yeah, they are okay with the ball, okay moving into the final third, but as you said, they're getting chances, but they're low-quality chances, and they just haven't figured out the attack. Also, look, let's face it, Jordan Morris has been out. They've had some other injuries. Albert Rusnak is out tonight, so that's not helping their situation at all.
And Jordan Morris is on the bench, they think available for around 30 minutes tonight if they need him. He's got 3 goals in 9 games against FC Dallas in regular season play. Fortunately, it's not a playoff game because he's got 5 goals and 1 assist in 7 playoff games against FC Dallas, an incredible record as Petar Musa's name goes over the PA. He's up against another one they call Moose on the Seattle side tonight, and Danny Musovski, who leads the line alongside Jesus Ferreira and Pedro de la Vega. The two teams going to swap sides. We thought Dallas was going to move from right to left here. But it looks like they will instead move from left to right. Something we've seen early in this season, teams making Dallas attack towards that direction in the first half. Steve, not for the first time tonight.
Nope. I tell you what, though, it doesn't really matter the side. You got to get a win tonight. We talked about Dallas having a really tough April schedule. They navigated the first hurdle in that one, that 1-1 draw last week. We always thought if they could get, say, 5 points out of April, that would be doing pretty good. Easiest path to that is to get 3 points in the home game, and that's it here right in front of them.
Next 3 on the road at Minnesota, at Miami, at San Diego. Points will be paramount tonight as both sides break their huddle. Dallas wearing their Inferno kit, moving from left to right. That is a light blue, very light blue, almost whitish gray with red accents. They'll move from left to right with Martin Pass in gold, decked out in all purple. And for Seattle, they're in their new kit as well. A nice dark blue number with teal accents. Looks like Jesus Ferreira is going to line up on the left wing for them. Dallas set to get us underway. Lucho Acosta in the center circle awaits the whistle of the referee. 11,000 fans gathered at Toyota Stadium. The return of Jesus Ferreira. Both teams needing points here early in the season. And we are just about set to get the action going.
Must be something wrong with me. I don't see any blue. All I see is white out there with red trim. You can call it blue if you want. It's white.
We'll get into color theory on the FC Dallas agenda this week, and we'll break that all down for you. We've got a game in front of us now. As Dujic blows the whistle, Lucho Acosta drops it back, and we are underway. Opening seconds as Martin Pass launches it long up towards Petar Musa. Wins the first aerial battle, breaks for Lucho Acosta. Takes it on the chest on the turn now. Overlapping run comes from Shaq Moore. Early ball in. Targets in the area. It's headed away by Cosariense and sent further clear by Roldan. Jesus Ferreira at full sprint trying to track this one down. Ibiaga gets a foot to it, and Uriguide, as he so often does, gets a more telling touch. Seattle going a little bit more direct here in the opening minutes. Kaique whistled for an early foul. Late tackle in midfield there against Obed Vargas, who's down holding his right foot.
Yeah, you got to stomp on Vargas there. He was a little bit late. And I tell you what, one thing this young man needs to learn is, after you do that, the thing you don't want to do is antagonize the referee, Filip Dujic in this case, by giving him the handshake, no, and barking at him a little bit. So, you fouled. It was in the midfield. It's not a big deal. Just move on.
And Seattle will set up the free kick with Jackson Reagan, a nominee for Defender of the Year last year. He sends it over to Nuhu, who's going to switch the field out to De La Vega, their DP signing, who's still looking to really make his mark in Seattle. Injury-laden first season, and he's already missed some time in 2025 as well. Seattle trying to build up the right side. Delgado wins it back. Quick exchange, passes with Lucho Acosta, and now Musa. Musa turns, tries to switch the field out towards Julio, but it's blocked. Dallas retains possession on the second ball. And then Musa coughs it up there. But again, Uriguide stepping in front of Musovski. And then Uriguide loses possession to Vargas. And now there's numbers in the attack for Seattle. It's switched by Ferreira out to De La Vega. De La Vega challenged by Norris, and then he gets a shot away, blocked by Uriguide up and over the bar.
Uriguide got a little aggressive there, a little too far away from goal, and when he missed the tackle, Dallas was numbers down back there, but Nolan Norris does a really good job of slowing that attack down. Ends up as a corner kick, but good job out there by Nolan Norris having to defend out in space.
We don't have any stats on how many corner kicks Jesus Ferreira has taken at Toyota Stadium, but they are aplenty, and he's got another one here in the 3rd minute. First corner for either side. It's going to be an out swinger from the far side. Now they're going to go short. He finds teammate, edge of the 18. Nice work from Lucho Acosta there to block it. And now Julio trying to get out in some space and run on the counter. And he loses out to Cosariense, who concedes a throw. And immediately Shaq Moore picks it up, launches it in behind for Julio. Julio towards the byline, waiting for support. And he loses out to Jackson Reagan, who marshaled that situation well.
Smart from Julio and Shaq Moore there.
Deflected clearance from Reagan. Breaks for Lucho Acosta. Trying to exchange a 1-2 there with Petar Musa on the edge of the 18.
Good aggressive start for FC Dallas. So they've already created 2 or 3 semi-dangerous opportunities. We're only a little more than 3 minutes into the match.
Stephen Fry puts his foot through it, goes long. Ibeagha shrugs off Ferreira, gets a foot to it, but then it breaks for De La Vega. Ball out towards Kalani Kosariensi, the latest to go through the Seattle pathway through Tacoma Defiance. Signed his first team deal recently. In the absence of one Paul Arriola, the former Dallas captain, who we wish all the best in his recovery from an ACL injury suffered just about a month ago now. Ramiro, nice work there to win the ball back high up the field. Musa tries to find Lucho. Lucho wins back the second ball, edge of the D now. Lucho into the 18, out towards Anderson Julio, and defended by Nuhu. Kaike picks up the loose ball, finds Lucho. Lucho tries to fizz it between the lines, gets a second chance at it now, lifted towards Julio, defended by Roldan. Last touch off Shaq Moore on the deflected clearance, and out for a Seattle throw.
Yeah, good start for Dallas. They look lively, they look accurate, they look aggressive. Nice start so far.
Nuhu's going to restart play with a throw. Eric Cool up off his touchline. Decked out in a black jacket, black pants, and of course the red hat tonight.
Jesus Ferreira with a loose touch there.
Played it over towards Eric Quill. Nice touch from Eric Quill. His first of the game. Ball breaks nicely for Kaike here. He's going to switch the play out to Patrickson Delgado. Nolan Norris goes on the overlap. There's space for the Dallas homegrown. Across the edge of the 18, looking for Acosta. He can't keep hold of it. Second ball now breaks for Patrickson. Out towards Norris on the far side. Low ball in towards Musa. Musa gets the shot away, but it's over the bar.
And Nolan Norris putting a good ball in, useful ball in there. Peter Musa, it's a bad angle for Peter Musa, but you do see that strikers sometimes able to slip that one in from that angle at the near post, and Peter Musa just almost did as he beat Jackson Reagan to the spot. Missed it the near post.
I think it would have had to hit the top corner to have a chance, but certainly made the right run, and Norris with some good service after supplying the most crosses in the game last week as well. That's in addition to Shaq Moore, who's in the top 5 in MLS in successful crosses so far this season.
Seattle's playing this 3-4-3, and right now Musa and Acosta are finding the balls right in that half space between the lines, and if they can keep doing that, Seattle's in for a long night.
Dallas midfielders win a couple headers off the goal kick, and then Julio commits a handball, claiming he got shoved in the back to cause the handball, but it'll be a Seattle free kick nonetheless. 6 minutes in, scoreless here at Toyota Stadium. Thank you for joining us tonight, wherever you're listening in.
Ryan Kaike picked up that ball and walked away with it. Somebody needs to tell him that that's a big no-no in MLS, so he's got to temper that a little bit.
There's Musa on the turn, ball over the top, looking for Julio. Reagan just about able to get a foot on it, and Nuhu sends it further clear. Uragide wins a header, and Ramiro gets the second ball as well. Kaike loose touch there, loses out to Roldan, but then he immediately wins it back. Now Kaike on the turn finds Musa. Kaike has gone down here. He was whistled for a foul himself, and either he or Ferreira is going in the book here. Considering it was Kaike who picked up the foul, you think he might see yellow here early on. Ferreira limps away from it as well. Dujic pointing to Kaike, holding up 2 fingers, saying that's the second time. And now Kaike, 7 minutes into his full debut, is going to have to play on a yellow.
That's a big concern for Eric Quill, because I just told you a second ago that he's already done a couple of things to antagonize Filip Dujic. And if Dallas isn't, if he's not very careful, Dallas is going to play a lot of this game a man down.
And he's still in conversation with Jesus Ferreira. Those two have never met until tonight. One of the many new faces for Dallas. As the ball direct over the top from Seattle runs all the way through for a goal kick, and that'd be a real shame with the way Dallas has started. That is certainly a mark against it.
You can look at him and just see how excited he is. You know, he's got a lot of bounce in his step right now, but he's just going to have to take it down a notch.
And as Dallas set up this goal kick, Steve, what are you seeing? Anything interesting tactically?
Well, like I said a minute ago, Ryan, the half spaces are open there for Dallas in between the 3-man back line and the midfield right now, so Seattle's got to sort that out, or Dallas is going to keep hammering them.
Uragide goes long. Julio battling for it, couldn't quite keep it. Now it's with Seattle along the near side, and Paul Rothrock. Rothrock moves infield. Now the overlapping run comes from Christian Roldan. His brother Alex Roldan injured last week, not involved tonight. And Rothrock low cross in towards Musovski, a dangerous one, but it managed to find its way towards Nolan Norris at the back post. And a nice exchange of passes with Patrickson. Now Nolan Norris driving towards the attacking half, holding off his man right on the halfway line. And he's going to concede a throw. Thought it should have been Dallas ball. He's going to have to retreat now. That was a dangerous moment, the first real one for Seattle, Steve.
Yep. Yeah, besides that one, the corner kick was the only thing they've had so far.
Rothrock here is going to square up Shaq Moore. Back to Nuhu. Vargas in midfield, closed down by Kaike. Kaike thought about biting in for the tackle there, had to pull out of it. Recently picking up that yellow card. Now Christian Roldan switches the play out to the far side. Kosariense, young wingback, he's back to Yamar. Seattle moves it across the back line. Julio puts them under pressure as they do. Ferreira along the near side here, the Seattle left. Urquide there, just too good for Musovski. He wins it back, and now Dallas look to spring the counter. Acosta goes through the legs of Nuhu, goes down, no whistle. Eric Quill beside himself on the touchline. As Seattle now move up the near side, and Kaike's won a foul, this time from Rothrock. And with a game with this level of intensity, the referee's going to have a lot of work to do tonight, it seems.
Yeah, I don't know what Rothrock was thinking there. Not smart on his part. He wasn't really involved in the play, and he just sort of grabbed Kaike as he ran by. And Philip Dewitt saw it. It was pretty obvious.
Kaike under pressure here from three. Sounders does well to play out, find Ramiro. Up the right side for Dallas. Shaq Moore. Deflected pass breaks back for Ramiro. Now Lucho Acosta on the turn. Beautiful work there. Finds Musa. Musa closed down by Yamar, edge of the 18. Poked back towards Shaq Moore and given away. Good defending there from the Colombian. And now a ball in behind. Musovski and Urquide locked together, end up both on the ground as it rolls through to Martin Paz.
Yeah, they just got their feet tangled, but Urquide, it was because Urquide got positioned there in a really clever way.
I'll tell you, if Musovski wasn't familiar with Asazi Urquide, he's very familiar with him now 10 minutes in. Patrickson Delgado with it on the far side. Ball in field for Ramiro. Kaike tries to return it to Patrickson, but that pass off the mark. Musovski back defending. And now Musa got a foot to it off Nuhu. Reagan well positioned to clean it up for his teammate. There's moments where the Dallas press has won it back high up the field, yet to profit so far.
Urquide just won a header over Jesus Ferreira. Urquide again, you know, we'll get tired of saying this at some point, I guess, but having a good match already.
On the other side, the Seattle center back Jackson Reagan drives forward, finds Musovski now wide with Rothrock. Ibiaga in retreat as that one's fizzed in, looking for Jesus Ferreira, but it's picked up comfortably by Martin Paz.
Good pace in the game, 12 minutes in, both teams being aggressive, wanting to get forward quickly.
Paz goes short into the feet of Ramiro. Urquide now spreads it out to the far side for Nolan Norris. Norris just about keeps it in play, but can't find the run of Peter Musa. Possession turned over.
Yeah, a little miscommunication there. Peter Musa was indicating wanted the ball played back behind him to somebody else, and Nolan Norris reading the run.
There's numbers in the attack for Seattle now. Jesus Ferreira, ball in behind for Kosariense. Closed down now by Ibiaga. Low cross in all the way across, and behind for a goal kick. As Dallas finds some space in those sort of pockets in midfield, Seattle's finding space when they commit those wingbacks forward, causing Dallas some problems going the other way.
Yeah, Kosariense, good little inside to outside run there. Got just about a step on Ibiaga and was able to flash that ball really closer than I thought he might be able to at that far post.
Yeah, he picked up his first MLS goal, and their one really good result of the season. That was a 5-2 win at home against LAFC, and a similar type of run. One to watch, particularly for Patrickson Delgado, who's setting up on that side and will be tasked with defending him. He's lost his footing here, has Delgado, and that turns possession over to the Sounders. 13 minutes in. Tonight in Frisco, Yamar on the ball in the midfield for Vargas. Out wide right for De La Vega. De La Vega burst to speed past Patrickson. Patrickson now sliding in. Second slide from Norris. And it's a good one. He wins the ball back and a goal kick as well.
De La Vega thought he had won a corner kick there, but Nolan Norris timing that slide well. And he had to because it was inside the penalty area.
Well, the best way to experience FC Dallas soccer is with a season ticket membership with a host of benefits, making it the best option in sports, including a complimentary MLS season pass membership, discounts on concessions at Toyota Stadium, and much more. You can find the membership that's perfect for you at fcdallas.com/memberships. Dallas trying to play out short there from the goal kick, eventually given away. Ka'ike out for a throw. There was a close call in the box as well. Ferreira trying to cut off the pass from Martin Paz. Now Seattle in possession here on the near side. Jesus Ferreira the furthest wide left for Seattle, and he was offside. The flag goes up against the now Seattle number 9, former Dallas number 9, number 10, number 27. He had a few different ones.
Seattle very aggressive in the press here tonight. They do that a lot. This year, their press hasn't been quite as well coordinated, maybe as we've seen in the past. Their counter press hasn't been quite as aggressive or effective, but that stuff tends to get a little better for Seattle as the year goes on.
Schmetzernomics, I think they call it. You got to give up points early in the season to then cash in later on.
No, I don't think they're trying to do that. I heard Garrett talk about that in the pregame show. I think Schmetzer would rather get the points right now, but they just haven't been able to get it together yet.
Whether it's intentional or not, it's a long-standing trend at this point. As Dallas dealing with an awkward ball bouncing along their back line. Norris wins a couple of headers there. And then eventually puts his foot through it, sending it down the field. Julio will give chase.
That trend started when Brian Schmetzer took over for Sigi Schmidt back in 2016. And they basically had to win like 9 of their last 11 games to make the playoffs. And doggone if they didn't do it under Schmetzer. And he's been off and running since then. He's now, as Berbiz was dismissed from Kansas City, Schmetzer is the longest-serving MLS coach at one spot, at his current spot.
Loose pass there from Yamar. Turned over to the Dallas midfield. Norris and Ramiro working it on the far side now, all the way back to Martin Paz.
Just in the last 2 or 3 minutes, Dallas starting to have trouble with Seattle's press. Before that, they were getting out of it, getting into the attack a little quicker.
Norris drives inside. Lucho tries to flick it towards Musa. Not on the same page that time. And now Vargas on the ball for Seattle. Out to Rothrock. A lot of space in the midfield for Roldan. Out wide right for De La Vega. De La Vega onto his left foot. Shot from distance. That went off the post. And the rebound turned home by Musovski. For probably the easiest goal of his career if he stayed onside.
Yeah, they'll take a look at it. That whole thing started when there's Delgado out there, was very slow to recognize where he needed to be defensively, and that opened up a bunch of room over there on that left side. And that's where the whole goal started. As De La Vega, he's got way too much room to operate, pulls the ball back, but he is every bit of that ball's going to be onside. He is every bit of 30 yards out as he hits that off the post. De La Vega is a good player, Ryan. You just can't give him that kind of space.
And the Dallas back line hoping for the offside flag, but Musovski timed it well and tapped home the rebound. Just his second goal for Seattle.
They're still talking to Delgado out there. He knows he... And you know, the funny thing is, I saw it a second ago where he's just sort of letting his players stay goal side of him, and he's just got to have a little... He's so good in the duels, but you've got to have better defensive awareness than that.
Musovski, that one goes down unassisted, very much so set up by De La Vega, who's got it back now. He won it back from Nolan Norris. Now head up, looking for options, finds Roldan into the middle for Vargas, switching out to the near side for Rothrock. Will run at Shaq Moore. Rothrock, edge of the D, Obed Vargas, shot from distance. That one looked like it was destined for the top corner, but it bends wide.
Dallas in the last 5 minutes. They can't get out of their end. I don't know what happened. They started great first 10 minutes. 5 minutes now, they haven't been able to get out. They look like all of a sudden they're a mess defensively. By the way, I don't even think we cited the number. The Seattle team coming in tonight, league games, last 4 league games, they were shut out 3 times. They got 1 goal in those 4 games. So You can't give them anything though, because they do have quality players out there.
And nothing against Martin Paz, who really couldn't get anything on the shot from De La Vega. It was close. And Filip Dujic not happy with Jesus Ferreira in particular, who's encroaching into the 18 when Dallas trying to take the goal kick short. Dallas had played out successfully, and Dujic is going to make them retake it, and that doesn't really help anyone.
I'm sure what Dujic was upset about. I thought Ferreira was in after the first kick.
Now Shaq Moore sends it down the line and towards Julio. Julio tripped up there by Nuhu. And, well, Dallas, stop me if you've heard this one before, they concede first, and they're going to have to fight from a losing position here to try and gain points at home. Some more consternation over a restart as Jesus Ferreira standing 9 yards away instead of 10. He backs up as Ibeaga looks for options.
Well, at first it was that Dallas didn't take the free kick from the correct spot.
Now Ka'ike balling behind for Julio along the right side. Looks to his left for options. Low cross blocked behind by Reagan, and it'll be a Dallas corner.
Well, and there you go. Every time Dallas has gotten into Seattle's half, they've looked fairly dangerous on the attack, but the last 5 minutes they just haven't been able to break the press.
Conversation between Lucho Acosta and Michel, who is the all-time leading scorer for FC Dallas against the Seattle Sounders with 4 goals. 4 of 15 in his career against Seattle. See what he's drawn up here as the new set-piece coach for FC Dallas. Left arm raise for Lucho Acosta. Outswinger towards the back post. Musa gets the first contact, but can't get enough behind it. It goes wide.
Yeah, he's having to back up a lot. Just couldn't get up over that one.
Well, FC Dallas is back home Saturday, May 10th to host Real Salt Lake. For tickets and more information, please visit fcdallastickets.com. 3 straight on the road after this one. At Minnesota, at Miami, at San Diego, who are all in the top reaches of the table. The Dallas game against Miami moved to Sunday. If you're making the trip out, adjust your accommodations. I know some FC Dallas fans certainly are planning to.
Don't know what they might pay for that ticket.
Ferreira balling behind. Cosariense heads it back across, and the flag goes up belatedly. Referee now spots it and brings a halt to proceedings. And we don't know really. That may be a game for rotation for Miami now as they're into the CONCACAF Champions Cup semifinals against Vancouver Whitecaps, either side of that game with FC Dallas.
So buyer beware. If you bought your tickets expecting to see Messi, you might. Then again, you might not.
Shaq Moore. Ball in towards Lucho Acosta. Flicks it on. And now Musa returns it to him. First time ball off the left foot. Out to Patrickson. Overlapping run comes from Norris. Patrickson moves infield across the center circle. Ka'ike to Ramiro. Now Lucho Acosta. Lucho Acosta through the lines. Finds the feet of Musa. Musa tries to put it in behind for Julio. Hadn't made the run that time. Stefan Fry sends it clear. Quickly picked up by Dallas midfield duo, Brazilians, Ka'ike and Ramiro. Ka'ike on it here under pressure from Roldan. Space now for Patrickson on the right side, popping up in a different space, driving at the back line of Seattle. Patrickson lines up the shot, blocked by Jesus Ferreira. Second ball falls for Shaq Moore. His cross blocked by Rothrock, and the flag goes up belatedly. I'm not sure why.
I'm not either. I'm not sure what the referee's assistant on that side saw.
Megan Mullen on the near side, Kevin Locke on the far side with the flags. Maybe the shot blocked by Patrickson while Shaq Moore was in an offside position. It's the only thing I can think of. Didn't look it on replay. Stefan Fry sets up to send it long, and he does.
I just watched it again. I still don't see it.
De La Vega in the center circle, tripped up by Norris. 22 minutes in. Andy Musovski getting the start. A rare start for Seattle up top in the absence of Jordan Morris. Has the lone goal tonight as Seattle lead 1-0.
So Dallas is really defending out of something that looks more like a 4-3-3, and if that's the case, then Delgado's got to be that third guy in there, and even like right now, he's not in the right spot. He's out too wide on the weak side, and that's just not going to do.
Rothrock prepares a throw here on the near side. Roldan making a nice run, runs into Osaze Urquide, puts his body in the way. It's going to be a goal kick. Saw him do that a few times in Atlanta, just shielding it over the line.
He's got such good speed. He knows how to use it, but he also sees the sequence really early, so he gets a good early jump on those.
Dallas playing with fire here inside the 18. Kaike receives it from Ibiaga, now driving through midfield. Tripped up by Yamar. We've gone hunting.
That's a yellow card. That was silly. Both teams just they're both not really locked in. It was Masovsky that he knew the foul. He dribbled the ball away and then he kicked it into the side. It's a textbook yellow.
Discipline not at its peak tonight so far, 25 minutes in, as the goal scorer for Seattle is now in the referee's book for that as well. Ibiaga waits for the whistle and then immediately fires it across to Urquide. Into the feet of Delgado. Out to Nolan Norris. Quick exchange with Ramiro. He's chased back now towards Urquide and Martin Paz. Midfield for Kaike. Finds Urquide some space ahead of him. Now he finds Lucho Acosta. Overlapping run comes from Nolan Norris. Back to Lucho on the halfway line. Ramiro ahead to Musa. Laid back for Lucho. Looking for runners. He sees Julio on the near side, but got the weight on the pass wrong. And it's all the way through for a goal kick. Against the ball, you definitely see the diamond in midfield with the 4-3-1-2, as Eric Quill calls it. Seattle takes plenty of time over this goal kick. Eventually, now Jackson Reagan lifts it out to Nuhu on this near side. Loose touch from Nuhu. Straight out of play. Kaike takes it quickly into the feet of Lucho Acosta. Shaq Moore, drop of the shoulder into the feet of Julio. Julio on the turn. Julio shot from distance, got under it. And that one's into the Hall of Fame end. I know we can shoot from distance. Dallas fans know more than anyone outside of Salt Lake.
He can. He's got under that one, as you said. Pretty severe angle right side, about that penalty area corner, extended out by about 5 yards.
And he's played less than 300 minutes coming into tonight, but he's still got the third most shots on goals for Dallas on the season, behind Lucho and Musa, to indicate how effective he was in his limited time to start the year.
They haven't been able to put a shot on target yet against Stefan Fry, and I think we've seen over the last couple of years that he's not quite the same goalkeeper that was helping them win a couple of MLS Cups and a couple of runner-ups over the last decade or so.
Miscommunication there, as Ramiro wanted to take the free kick from where he was standing. Osaze played him the ball on the ground, so Rothrock thought that was the free kick. Now cleared up, and Ramiro looking for options. Goes through the lines, finds Lucho Acosta, who's found some space somehow. Now quick exchange with Musa. Poked back towards Musa, but off the mark with the second pass. Sliding tackle from Musa, evaded there, and now there's a foot race between De La Vega and Urquide. Clattering challenge from Nolan Norris, and he won the ball. But he's got a yellow card, and a free kick goes Seattle's way.
He did win the ball. He did lunge in. It was a pretty aggressive challenge. I don't know. We'll have to see it again.
The ball went flying in the direction of his clearance. To me, I think that's not a foul.
Well, Urquide sort of made it. Urquide and Norris sort of made a De La Vega sandwich, and I don't know. I did think Norris got a lot of the ball there. I agree with you, Ryan.
Really harsh to pick up a yellow card there. And now both Dallas teenagers will play with a yellow card here. early in the first half.
Well, I think what happened was, again, when Urquide sort of came in from behind and sort of pushed a little bit, and as Nolan Norris won that ball, it was an aggressive challenge, and I think as Pedro de la Vega goes down kind of hard, I think that's what Duich sees, and maybe he doesn't understand that it was sort of three guys coming together all at once.
De la Vega, who's dealt with a numerous injury history, now back to his feet. Some of those 50-50 decisions have not gone Dallas's way. Score currently in favor of the visitors as well. 1-0 here in the 29th minute.
So as we get in, you just said 29th minute, so we're getting up right about the half-hour mark. Dallas at home hasn't put a shot on target yet, so they've really got to find something that works in the final third. They started pretty well, started very lively, but really never tested in any way, shape, or form Stefan Frei. So now they've sort of solved that 5 or so minutes where they couldn't get out of the press, but they've done that. But now they've got to do something a little better in the final third.
It looks like the streak of not scoring in that opening 30 minutes will continue as Ferreira tries something cheeky there from the free kick, tried to roll it in behind for Roldan, but Martin Paz was alert to it, came out to claim.
Yeah, and that time Delgado was aware defensively, good awareness that time as he sort of shielded off one of the Seattle players, so Paz could come out and claim that one unchallenged.
Ramiro there, just timing off between he and Shaq Moore. It's chased back to Stefan Frei, who goes long out towards Rothrock here on the near side. Too much on it from the 38-year-old netminder for Seattle. It's out of play right at the halfway line. Throw in taken by Ramiro into the feet of Musa. KK down the line for Shaq Moore, defended by Reagan, out of play. Collision there as Reagan got the tackle in, and he's gone down. He's flexing his ankle on his left leg.
Well, Duich is indicating throw-in, but it's a throw-in for Dallas if it's not a foul.
And Ka'ike trying to help him to his feet, not interested. He stayed down here.
I tell you what, Ryan, you have to say this for Ka'ike. He's around the ball a lot, isn't he?
While we wait for Reagan here, we'll let you know that Toyota Stadium is getting a makeover. From a brand new roof that will cover every seat in the building to gorgeous new club spaces and a variety of new suites, Toyota Stadium is set to become one of the finest venues in MLS. To learn more, visit newtoyotastadium.com. And it will be a Dallas throw as Reagan's back up.
Duich had it wrong initially, but he corrected himself.
Ball with Shaq Moore along the Dallas right. Musa with some space here. Off his right foot looking for Shaq Moore. Awkward ball in the area. Julio was interested, but Yeimar sends it clear out of play on the far side. Waiting for that moment. We've seen it a couple times this season where Dallas just comes alive. The Kansas City game and the Colorado game where they scored in rapid succession a couple of times. In this sort of 15-minute period, the final 15 in the first half. Attacking towards the supporters here in the first half. They're expectant of something, some response from their team. As Seattle moves from right to left. Rothrock and Nuhu exchange passes. Back to Reagan. Kosariense picks it up. And then Lucho Acosta defending, got back in time and got a whack in the face for it. He's won a free kick for Dallas. Some weird fouls, some weird off the ball, away from the play stuff.
Yeah, you'd like to see Filip Duich just take a little bit more control of the match here.
Ball direct into the feet of Musa, laid back. Lucho Acosta, wide left, it's Ka'ike, ball in behind looking for Musa, defended by Reagan with the header. And Yeimar sends it clear out towards Ferreira. His first time ball was off the mark, but it still breaks for a teammate, and that's De La Vega. De La Vega, ball in behind looking for Roldan, defended by Nolan Norris with a leaping header. And now Patrickson in the center circle with some space, looks ahead for his fellow Ecuadorian, and Anderson Julio flag stays down for now. Julio tries to find Musa, and the pass was off the mark. Neymar, awkward one out to Kosariense on the far side. He managed to slip and still keep it in play. Dallas steps the pressure higher up the field here. Long ball from Neymar. Header won by Norris. Straight out of play, looking for Ka'ike. Turned over to Seattle here in the 33rd minute. Neymar, diagonal, far side to near. Rothrock receives it on the halfway line. Easily past Delgado, now runs infield. Loose pass there, gives it away to Ka'ike. Now something maybe on the counter for Dallas. Julio on the turn. Lucho out wide left, receives it now. Runners making their way into the 18 to his right. Lucho Acosta, edge of the penalty area. Out to Julio on the far side. Flag stays down, hint of offside in it as he tries to get to the byline. And loses possession ultimately to Kosariense. De La Vega loses possession at the other end though to Nolan Norris. Breaks back for Julio. Ka'ike, some space in midfield. Thought about a shot, instead chops past De La Vega. Losing Oz from the crowd. It's wide now with Julio. Julio, shot from distance. Again, got under it.
Well, I'm going to ask producer Sam Hale to put a pin in this one for halftime, but Anderson Julio right now, I think he's showing the rust of those 3 games. And the other thing to consider is this is the first time he's played in this formation. Yeah, he's missed the last 3 games, and that game at RSL, I believe, was where they actually went into that diamond midfield. And right now, I would say he looks more comfortable as a winger than he does as that second forward.
Fry goes long, right along Route 1. Header won by Urquide over Musovski. Second ball, though, breaks for Christian Roldan. Out to De La Vega, whose shot off the post led to the Seattle go-ahead goal. Seems to be moving okay after the foul by Nolan Norris earlier. Phantom foul, maybe. Musa goes in hard there against Vargas. Second ball breaks out for Nuhu, sends it down the line. Shoving the back from Rothrock. Sent Shaq Moore to the ground, and he's given away a free kick. Now it's looking to play quickly. Ramiro back to Urquide. Drive the team forward into midfield for Delgado. Delgado thought he was fouled, nothing given. Now it's with De La Vega. De La Vega ball in behind, looking for Ferreira. And Ibiaga, alert to the danger there, intercepts the pass.
Yeah, well read there by Ibiaga.
Morris back to Urquide, closed down by Jesus Ferreira. Urquide loses his footing there, bad timing on that, as it's ahead for Ferreira, who I think was offside. We play on. He gives away a pass intending to find Roldan. Here is Roldan. In midfield, finds Vargas. Ferreira back to De La Vega. Vargas loses out to Norris with a hard tackle there. Now Musa trying to find a teammate, back to Nolan Norris. Musa there just wanting the ball to feet when what Nolan Norris really needed was some options up ahead of him. It's out for a Dallas throw. Down the line for Julio, laid off for Musa. Musa on the turn. Looking for options. He finds Ibiaga. He's got a lot of space to bring it forward. Rolled into midfield for Ka'ike. Out wide right, Shaq Moore. Ramiro. First time ball ahead for Patrickson, trying to clip that one over the top for Moore. Now he's on to the second ball, challenging for it with Yamar, but Yamar wins the header. And now Seattle go the other way with Kosariense into the attacking half. Dallas defending with 6 players here. Rothrock, edge of the area, loses out to Nolan Norris. But despite that foul whistled against him in that yellow card, has been really pretty strong at left back once again for Dallas tonight. Here's Peter Musa in the center circle on the turn. Delgado into the attacking half. Out wide on the far side with Lucho Acosta. He's going to run it the Seattle back line here along the edge of the 18. Lucho tries to sneak it through into the feet of Musa. Well read that time by Roldan. And that connection's just been sputtering tonight between Dallas number 9 and number 10.
Yeah, I think Dallas is going to have to work the wide areas a little bit more, because every time they've got the ball in dangerous spots, they want to funnel it into the middle. They want to see that Lucho and Musa combination cook, and it's okay. And you can ask them to cook sometimes, but you've got to diversify enough to be a threat out wide.
Loose pass there from Vargas, turns it over to Julio. Musa finds Lucho, goes down wanting a foul, nothing given against Reagan. And that Dallas break turns to nothing, as does the Seattle attack as well, as Nolan Norris wins another header. Finds Ka'ike. Ka'ike, fortunate bounce back into his path. He goes down and tug of the jersey against the Dallas Brazilian. Want a free kick here in attacking areas. I feel like since the yellow card, Ka'ike settled down a little bit.
He absolutely has, and that's to his credit. He needed to, and he did.
It'll be a free kick for Dallas on the far side. More of a crossing area than a shooting area for Lucho Acosta. Wide of the 18-yard box, probably 10 yards further away from goal as well. Plenty of targets to aim at for Dallas. You've got Urquide Ibiaga at the back post. Musa in there as well. Nolan Norris, who can win a header, as we've seen tonight. Only Shaq Moore back for Dallas. Everyone else interested in an equalizing goal. Lucho Acosta sends this one into the 18, and the whistle goes against Dallas for some pushing and shoving there.
40th minute, still no shots on target for Dallas. And look, that back line, Nuhu, Yamar, Jackson Reagan, all three very good defenders. You mentioned a while ago, Jackson Reagan, best 11 candidate last year. Yamar was my pick for defender of the year, so two really good center backs there, and then Nuhu pretty good as well.
Stephen Fry taking his time over this free kick. I want to let you know that you can check out the FC Dallas Agenda, our brand new FC Dallas podcast, where we have weekly exclusive interviews with the likes of head coach Eric Quill and members of the squad. The FC Dallas Agenda has everything FC Dallas fans want. You can get the latest episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever else podcasts are available. De La Vega thinks about a shot from distance, now cuts back onto his left foot, sends Ramiro to the turf. Ball in behind, defended by Urquide, but still breaks from Musovski, whose low cross is blocked again by Urquide, this time behind for a corner.
Ooh, dangerous there. De La Vega had the ball right about the same spot. He cracked that ball off the post. It turned into the goal a while ago. This time, though, it wasn't a defensive breakdown. Ramiro just slipped as he was trying to defend De La Vega.
Both teams had some slippage tonight. It was a beautiful night for soccer in Frisco, Texas. It's one of the 70s with a light breeze. We're going to see a lot of action over the 3 weeks, even while Dallas is gone, with Dallas Cup. All the finals next week here at Toyota Stadium. Jesus Ferreira, who won Dallas Cup, is part of the only FC Dallas team to win the Gordon Jago Super Group. He's set to take the corner kick from the far side. Right arm raised. Out swinging service in towards the penalty spot. Header won by Ibiaga. Delgado trying to clear it, sends it straight up into the air. Second ball won by Rothrock in towards Musovski. Again, Ibiaga. Well positioned, sends it clear. Ka'ike battling with Rothrock for the loose ball. Ka'ike comes away with it. And then he loses his footing. And a mishit pass there from the Brazilian. Now De La Vega again thought about a shot from distance. Again, chops past his man. Now right-footed effort, bending, but over the bar.
Yeah, footing, you're right, really becoming an issue out there. And I have seen this before out here, Ryan, where at this time of year, the winter grass is starting to die, and it gets a little bit of dew on it, or, if there's any kind of precipitation at all, it becomes very slippery.
A unwanted 1-2 there between Ramiro and Ka'ike came off the younger midfielder's face, but it's broken kindly for Dallas. Now Lucho Acosta moving from right to left, trying to find some space here centrally, 40 yards from goal. Quick exchange with Delgado, now ahead to Musa. Musa, edge of the 18, set back for Delgado. Wide with Ramiro, into the top of the 18 again. Musa on the turn, looking for Julio. Saw the vision, but didn't quite come off, but Nolan Norris wins the second ball here. Final 5 minutes of the first half. Nice little back heel flick between Lucho and Musa. Quick 1-2, another 1-2. Breaks again for Musa. The loose ball, edge of the 18, chip towards Lucho. As those two are playing the two-man game so well. Lucho eventually gets the shot away, blocked by Nuhu. Out towards Shaq Moore on the near side. Ramiro ran into Rothrock. Can't believe he didn't get a foul. Now he did get a foul, belatedly. Because I think Dujic just turned the other way and didn't see the contact initially. Then maybe with some help from the assistant, reversed his decision. It will be a Dallas free kick, and it's in a dangerous area here on the near side.
Yeah, the problem is it should have been a yellow card as well as a free kick, because that was a pretty tough foul there off the ball.
Not for the first time against Rothrock tonight either.
Yeah, well, and maybe that's the point. Maybe there's a little higher bar on Rothrock, what will draw a yellow, because it would be a second one for him. No, that's not correct, right?
No, he should have got one earlier, but
that's what I'm thinking. You're right.
And now he really should have one, but he doesn't.
And that's at least his third foul, so at some point that's got to matter to Filip Dujic as well.
So Julio and Lucho standing over it. Two-man wall for Seattle just inside their own penalty area. Wide of the box here along the right side. Seattle set their line pretty deep here, 10 yards from goal. I wonder if they might try and pull Dallas offside, step the line up. Julio steps over it and leaves Lucho to work. Ball across the edge of the 18. Musa with the shot set up. Something from the training ground there, but it's blocked as it went through traffic. And now Shaq Moore didn't have much ahead of him. Tried to lift it towards Lucho Acosta, and now Dallas caught it defensively without numbers back, but Uriguide patrolling it. Julio backtracking, got a foot to the ball to stop the Seattle counter. Ramiro committing there. They're trying to win it back from Vargas. Now he's caught out of position. It's wide with Rothrock on the far side. Low ball in. Defended well by Abiaga. And Yeimar just puts his foot through it out of play. As we've played 45 minutes, we're about to find out how many more we'll play in the first half.
We talked so much about Uriguide tonight, the other night against Atlanta, but it probably deserves mention. I think Abiaga's having another really good night here too.
3 minutes added on. Roldan's got a shot here from distance, and a huge save from Martin Paz. Maybe his best of the season so far. As Roldan lined that one up on his left foot, Martin Paz sprawling out to his left. He concedes the corner, but that one was bound for the net.
Right, I think the back line is having another good night. The danger that is happening against Dallas is all in the area right above the penalty area.
And the real trouble now is that Petr Musa has just gone down injured, and he's signaled to the bench he's going to have to come off.
Well, it's good they got a good one in Logan Farrington as a like for like, but Petr Musa did not look good, because I saw him immediately as he took a weird step, and he immediately looked down and started limping, and he's already got the shoe off, and man, we just hope this isn't a long-term thing.
Farrington immedately across from the area where the substitutes were warming up. Musa's down inside the Dallas 18.
I just got another look at that save. That's a really good save from Martin Paz.
You wonder if they can get to halftime and have some more time maybe to evaluate this, but Musa looks to be in some real pain here on the ground.
I don't think there's much evaluation here. I think he's coming off.
And Farrington's got his jersey on. Dallas don't want to defend this corner a man light. Didn't really see it on the replay there, the shot from Roldan. Maybe just an awkward step, sort of jarring the ankle. Don't think there was any contact in it, but Musa's gone off. And Dallas's leading scorer on the season, leading assister as well, is sprawled out on the turf behind the goal as they try and defend a corner here in first half stoppage time.
So that's the problem, is that's one of the windows. Right, I saw a guy in the New York Red Bulls game get pulled off in the 44th minute.
Pulled off too, not because of injury.
That's a message.
Corner from Ferreira, defended at the near post by Ramiro. Acosta will chase the loose ball as the loose touch there from Costa Rienzi. Acosta closed down immediately by Roldan. And Ferreira puts it out of play. I think we'll play probably an extra minute of stoppage time after that injury, as we've got 30 seconds of the allotted 3 still to go. Another throw coming for Dallas on the far side, and the stretcher's making its way towards Petr Musa.
It's not good when he doesn't even want to walk over to the sideline, where the medical staff is telling him not to walk over there.
Here's the first action for Logan Farrington. Ball over the top, looking for him. Immediately tangling there with Reagan, who has to put it out of play. for a throw, much closer to the Seattle goal. Much time still to go here in this first half as Farrington takes the throw. Patrickson looking for Lucho. Last touch off Jesus Ferreira. Another throw coming. Dallas need to go quickly here. Try and get something before the break. Throw in taken by Norris. Ramiro swings it across here to Ibeagha. Ibeagha back to Urigide into midfield for Ramiro. To Ibeagha now wide with Shaq Moore. Not a ton of options ahead of him. As he tries to go on the dribble through two players, loses possession. De La Vega on it in the deep midfield position for Seattle. And it should be the final minute here of first half stoppage time. Seattle very content to take this lead into the break, and now Jackson Reagan's gone down. And Schmetzer shaking his head, as both teams might have just lost one of their key players here in the final minutes of the first half. So Musa, down to our left, is being stretchered back to the locker room as the Dallas fans rise to their feet, cheer on the Moose, wish him the best, and hope it's nothing long-term for a team who just lost Sebastian Lletget.
Yeah, the way he's got it head in hands and not looking happy at all. It's not a good indicator.
I'll tell you what, that's a long walk for the stretcher crew as well, with a very heavy man on it.
With the Moose.
The Moose in tow. I think they're going to take a break here right at the Dallas bench. I don't blame them. Reagan, meanwhile, still down. The whistle here to end the first half still hasn't come from Dujic.
I mean, honestly, if Dujic just blew the whistle, I don't think either team would mind. It can't be more than 15 or 20 seconds.
Reagan will be a candidate to potentially be replaced. They do have some depth defensively, Seattle, on the bench. The likes of Kim Ki-hee, the veteran South Korean, or potentially Cody Baker as well. John Bell, plenty of options for them, but none at the quality of Jackson Reagan, who's also having his ankle checked out after we saw him go down earlier in the half.
All right now Dallas at 53% of the possession. It's going to be a rare game in 25 where Dallas might have more of the ball than the other team.
To me, that feels intentional from Seattle as well.
Sure.
Because Seattle has dominated the ball in pretty much every game so far this season. I think they sort of recognize Dallas isn't as comfortable with the ball, and they've been the ones looking to break, reversing the script.
Jackson Reagan getting up and walking off under his own power. That's good news for Seattle. It's better than what the FC Dallas fans just saw with their star striker.
And we are in the 52nd minute. We originally had 3 minutes added on, then we lost Petar Musa, who was on the ground for just over a minute. And now there's debate over how to restart play. It will be Jesus Ferreira dropping it off to Rothrock, who goes long and will play on. So we're 6 minutes of stoppage time in which we haven't played much soccer. We've lost two of the star players of the game.
And FC Dallas had a chance to get possession there, and they could have attacked with Seattle being a man down, but just couldn't get anything going there.
Seattle put it out of play for Martin Paas' goal kick. And Martin Paas with some urgency, I think, senses that opportunity as well. Dallas playing momentarily up a man with Reagan walking to the locker room early. Kaike, long ball looking for Farrington. Decent weight on it, defended by Yemar, and that will do it for the first half. So Dallas once again will have to fight from a losing position if they're going to get anything out of this one tonight. And they're going to have to do so without Petar Musa, as he's helped off on the stretcher towards the Dallas locker room. A lot to break down on the halftime show here, and we will take you through what we saw in the opening 45. What we saw is Seattle take the lead 1-0 through Musovski into the halftime break here on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
So, what'd you do this
UT
weekend?
Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
So, what'd you do this weekend?
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hi everyone, it's Petar Musa and you are listening to FC Dallas Soccer on the FC Dallas app.
Dallas nil, but bigger concerns loom for FCD as they have to deal with a late injury in the first half. We will get into it all here on the FC Dallas Halftime Show, brought to you tonight by your local Toyota dealer, Toyota. Let's go places. Also brought to you by AdvoCare, building champions together. I'm your host, Sam Hale. I'll be joined in just a moment by our halftime crew, Garrett Meltzer and Steve Davis. No highlights for this one. The only goal, Danny Musovski in the 17th minute off a rebound from a Pedro de la Vega post-rattler that Martin Paas and the defense had no way to combat. That's the only score we have in this one. So let's get you to the halftime stats, brought to you this evening by UMB Bank. Dallas has the possession lead 53-47. They also lead in shots 7-5, but Seattle has the lead on shots on goal 2-0. We've got 3 corners for the Sounders, 1 for Dallas. Seattle's been offside twice, Dallas just once. 1 save for Martin Paas, no saves for Stephen Fry. 2 yellow cards for Dallas, that's Kaike and Nolan Norris. 1 yellow card for Seattle. As we bring in our halftime team, Garrett Meltzer and Steve Davis. And I had a lot of things planned, but there's a moose-sized hole in those plans right now, Garrett, as Petar Musa is subbed off in the 45th plus second minute after suffering what looks to be an ankle injury. We don't have details at this moment. As soon as we get them, we will pass them along. But regardless of the what, this is a very unpositive development for an FC Dallas team that right now has 0 shots on goal.
Yeah, the sight of Petar Musa being stretchered off is probably the worst possible sight for an FC Dallas fan. I'm not sure if he stepped wrong or something. It's really hard to tell. I mean, it's so early. I've already sent a few texts trying to glean some information on what the preliminary prognosis is, but I mean, it's not a good sight if he couldn't even hobble off. He had to be on the stretcher. So, best wishes to him. And, but next man up, Logan Farrington. That's a great sub. That's a great guy to have. He's excellent off the bench, and he's an excellent sub for Petar Musa. But, yeah, just a really tough sight to see right at the end of a pretty disappointing half.
Sam, you said something about the ankle. I have no idea, but I tell you what, at this point I almost hope it's the ankle, because when you see that and there's not really a weird step or anything, the first thing I think of is the Achilles. And ankle will heal as long as it's not broken. It's not broken. The Achilles, man, that's a tough one. That's a long-term one. So let's hope it's not that.
Hopefully not. And it is worth noting, as we saw him coming off, it didn't look like the training team had an air cast. So hopefully that's good news for breaks. But yeah, as soon as we get information, we will pass that along to you here. But let's talk about the game itself. Obviously not going the way Dallas wanted to. They're still well in it, only down a goal. But it seems like we're seeing a trend here, Garrett, where about the first 10 minutes, Dallas really is able to get on the front foot and ask some questions of the team, but then they almost regress backwards, and it allows the other team, in this case Seattle, to get back into it.
Yeah, it seems like once the opponent kind of settles into the game and gets their defensive shape, Dallas really struggles on really progressing the ball. I thought Seattle's press, in previous games, it hadn't been the most organized, and teams had played through them, and they've been conceding a lot more goals than they have in previous seasons. But in this game, they look pretty stout and pretty organized on the press, and Dallas really struggled getting the ball from Ramiro Bonetti to any of the more advanced midfielders, and that's an issue we've seen over previous games, and we talked to Eric Quill about that exact thing, progressing the ball from those half spaces in the left and right side from the fullbacks and defensive midfielder, in this case Ramiro Bonetti, but the adjustments he's made haven't really come to fruition yet.
Yeah, unfortunately, we've talked about this before, where it's a midfield issue right now. They're not connecting to the midfield, and on the other side, I think the back line, everybody along the back line, I think is doing fine, but De La Vega has found space in front of the penalty area, on top of the penalty area. So has Roldan. Ferreira's finding a little space in there. And the defensive organization just has to be better. And on the goal, Garrett, I don't know what you saw there, but right before the goal, I could see Delgado too far outside on the weak side. He sort of is playing almost like there's a four-man midfield, but it's not. It's a three-man midfield. And I didn't like his positioning on the previous sequence. And then, sure enough, he's way too far out. When De La Vega gets the ball on the inside, he's got all kinds of room to line up that shot, and he puts the shot off the post, and then turns into the goal on the rebound. So it's not just on the build-out structure, but it's defensively too that they just can't get the midfield sorted out this year.
I think it's one of those where offensively Patterson Delgado is asked to be one of those wide options and stretch the field, because no true wingers in this formation, right? And then when the ball turns over, he doesn't adjust quickly enough, and there was an acre of space for De La Vega, and he just picked his spot and almost put it in the back of the net. And then kind of an unfortunate rebound off the post, but it was well timed from Masovsky.
I have a theory of a solution to that, but let's tackle something else, and that's Anderson Julio. Steve, you mentioned during the broadcast he looks a little bit rusty. That was about 35 minutes or so in, and right around that same time I had just written down, we talked to Eric Quill, and he said, hey, everyone thinks Anderson Julio is a true winger, but he's not. He's a second striker. Watching the first 45-plus tonight, I'm honestly not sure what to think of Anderson Julio right now.
Well, I mean, the thing is, he did train, as a wide midfielder in the 4-2-3-1, or as a winger 4-2-3-1 in the preseason. As he left and he missed the last 3 games, that's exactly when they went to the diamond formation. So he hasn't been in this formation in a game yet. He didn't play at all last week, even though he was back. So I'm sorry, he played. He got into the game,
played
but
Atlanta,
he didn't start. And at that time, they played him out wide, and they changed formation. So, it's not all his fault. But right now, he does look rusty. A couple of times when he has gotten the ball in good spots, he shot and it went well high. But I'll tell you what, right now he has 11 touches. That's not a lot. Now, just for a comparison's sake, little apples to oranges, but remember, 11 touches. Musa has 35, Acosta has 39. That'll tell you he's having trouble finding the game, finding the spaces.
This is unrelated. I do want to bring up Dallas fan spirits a little bit. They just flashed the scores going on. Vancouver Whitecaps 5, Austin FC 1. If you need a little feel-good right now, if you're an FC Dallas fan with the Musa injury, I'm trying to help any way I can here. But let's look at the second half. And obviously, the Musa injury changes everything because, you've got Logan Farrington in, but that's just not the problem. The problem is going to get that second line connected to that third line, Garrett.
Yeah, and I think some of it has to go down to Patrickson. It seems like he's just really confused on where to be when in possession, and then because of that, when they lose possession, he's out of position as well. So maybe an adjustment there. We've seen him on the wing. That's definitely not his best position either. I know it would be a big call, but I'd love to see Diego Garcia, the young homegrown, get an opportunity. He looked bright in patches in preseason. Very inexperienced, of course, but he's a player who can connect. I think he's the most like-for-like replacement for Sebastian Leggett, a connecting midfielder who loves to get forward. But that'd be a very big call from Eric Quill, I will say.
The thing is, I think the little silver lining to this is with Farrington in. Look, Farrington's a good player. He's going to give Jackson Reagan and Yamar trouble out there, and Nuhu. But I almost think that at one point, Ryan figured on the play-by-play, he said something about here's the two-man game working, Acosta and Musa. I thought it was too much a couple of times. I thought, they were trying to find each other a little too much. There's one sequence I think you're talking about, went back and forth, and I'm thinking, doggone, guys, you're inside the penalty area. But maybe somebody looked to take a shot and just did a passing to each other. So maybe Farrington, maybe his entrance here can change things up. But because look, whatever it is, you don't have any shots on goal at home. Something didn't work right, so you got to change something up.
there's an interesting idea here, and Garrett, I'll throw this one at you. Obviously, if we're talking about Patterson playing in those wide areas, specifically on the left-hand side, there's an argument to be made that Leo Chu might be an interesting option for that. He has experience with Seattle going up that left side. He's got good defensive metrics. If you're looking to just lock down that side and let Julio work, might be something to consider, albeit unconventional.
I mean, absolutely. Play into some of the revenge game storylines, perhaps. A player loves to put in a goal or a great performance against their former club. Maybe rely on that a little bit. Now, of course, that would require a formation change as well. No true wingers in this formation. And we haven't even seen Leo Chu as a winger yet for FC Dallas. Something to consider. He's always played the second striker role, which, of course, Anderson Julio is playing in right now. So that would be a very interesting one. But I don't even think the left side has been FC Dallas's issue. I think it's been moving down the right side. Shaq Moore has not been nearly as involved as he has been in previous games, pushing up the right, and we know that offensively he's an excellent fullback, and he certainly offers more verticality than Nolan Norris does on the left. So trying to work in something a little bit more on the right could help FC Dallas balance this out a bit more.
Steve Davis, any thoughts on personnel as we wind down the halftime show?
Not personnel, but I'm thinking that they went to 4-2-3-1 last week. It changed the game. They got the goal, and I think they might do the same thing tonight. I wouldn't mind seeing it.
Well, FC Dallas is down 1-0 here at Toyota Stadium. Second half is going to get underway in just a couple minutes, so we will step aside. And when we return, Ryan and Steve will get you ready for the second half of action here at Toyota Stadium. It's Seattle Sounders 1, FC Dallas 0. You're listening to FC Dallas Soccer presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
Welcome to the world of WinStar, the casino of FC Dallas, where 10,000 electronic games plus roulette, craps, and blackjack is just the beginning. Get lost in our 2-story luxury spa. Enjoy 36 holes of championship golf and catch the biggest names in music and comedy at the spectacular Lucas Oil Live, all just 1 hour north of DFW. So come live in the wow at the world of WinStar.
Want to hear something incredible? That's Eleanor. Just 10 hours after being born, Eleanor was airlifted to Children's Health and met by our expert team trained in cardiac and critical care. At 4 days old, she received a stent to help her heart pump blood to the rest of her body. And today, she's a happy, healthy 1-year-old. That's incredible. That's Children's Health. Incredible together.
So, what'd you do this weekend?
Well, just took the Tacoma off-road, deep into the woods, got to this hidden campsite only it could reach.
Nice. I hooked up the boat to the Tundra and hit up the lake. Towed it like a pro. Had the whole lake to ourselves.
Hey, wait, did I mention I went rock climbing too? Yeah, thanks to the Tacoma's crawl control.
Well, sounds like we both had fun weekends.
Mine was better.
The Toyota Tundra and Tacoma are built for all the fun. Test drive at your local Toyota dealer or visit Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. Feature availability differs based on trim. See Toyota.com for details.
Hi everyone, it's Paxton Palmacal, and you're listening to FC Dallas Soccer on the FC Dallas app.
Well, Dallas emerges from the tunnel down to our right. Looks like unchanged with the first half stoppage time swap of Logan Farrington in for the injured Petter Musa. Everybody else amongst the starting 11 will get a chance here to set things right in the second half, as we're just about 20 seconds away from getting things back going, awaiting the Sounders to join us on the pitch at Toyota Stadium. They lead 1-0. Steve Davis, and honestly, Dallas pretty solid defensively. We talked about it at halftime, but a lot of things to solve in possession coming out for the second half.
Yeah, that's why we think that's why we just talked about some kind of personnel change probably going to be needed at some point, but or change of shape and formation. But we know that Eric Quill has not been one to change at halftime, and tonight he didn't really have much of an option to do that. Although maybe it would have been the time, because they've already lost one sub window when they had to make that change Farrington for Musa late in the first half.
Yeah, just to go back to what you guys talked about at halftime break, the 1-2s between Musa and Lucho. I agree with you. I think particularly that one moment towards the end of the half, it was that extra 1-2 was just one too many, and They needed to pull the trigger, whether it was Lucho or Musa. You're inside the 18. You haven't had a shot on target, and sometimes you're just trying to overplay it. It's what I've never seen that really between two star players. Usually, as soon as the chance opens up to shoot, I mean, maybe like a Mesut Ozil or someone who just really wants to assist, but from a striker as well, and Musa, you think, man, just pull the trigger there.
Well, I think one thing is that they're looking to go back and forth a little bit. You know, they're looking to combine, and that's great. And so that affects their body shape, though. Neither one of them in that moment was really shaping up to shoot, and so they really couldn't.
Looks like 2 changes for Seattle. We knew Reagan was going to have to go off injured, and it is Kim Keehee in. And it will be Danny Leyva in as well in midfield. Didn't quite see who's coming out for Leyva.
He's usually a defensive midfielder.
They could be changing shape here as well. We've seen them in a number of different setups. I still see Roldan. I still see Vargas. So it looks like maybe 3 in midfield for Seattle. No De La Vega. Not seeing the luscious locks of Pedro De La Vega out there, who set up the goal with his shot off the post in the first half. So 2 changes for Seattle. Dallas already having to make the 1 change in the first half. And we are back underway at Toyota Stadium. Norris tried to win the ball back there, and then a hard tackle from Vargas, similar to what Norris got a yellow card for in the first half, to be honest. Vargas getting the ball, but leaving some in there on Norris, who's back to his feet.
Yeah, remember Norris and Kaike both carrying yellow cards now.
Musovski with a yellow card for Seattle. Again, Norris losing his footing there, just away from the play. It's been an issue all night. See if any players maybe swap studs at the break. Ball down the line. Leyva's first involvement. He wins a header, finds Musovski. Both Dallas center backs out of position here. And it breaks for Rothrock on the far side. Shaq Moore out to close him down defensively inside the 18. Rothrock shot blocked. Sliding tackle there from Shaq Moore. Ball stays with Seattle and Musovski. Wide here with Kosariense. He's going to send a low ball in, defended by Norris behind for a corner.
It's interesting. I don't know if Dallas got the instruction on their center backs to be a little bit more aggressive, but that's about the 3rd time tonight that we've seen the center backs very aggressive, coming off, breaking that line, coming out 30, 40 yards out to issue a challenge, and then being caught out of position.
Referee going to have a conversation here before Leyva takes the corner kick from the near side. Looks like it's going to be an outswinger off the right foot. 21-year-old homegrown for Seattle. Been around forever at 21 years old. Leyva sends this one with some air underneath it. Back post, header 1 there by Keehee. Bicycle kick attempt from Yamar on target, saved by Martin Paz.
He'll get a save for that one on the stat sheet, but it was a very routine ball for him.
See, 2 minutes in now, yet to really see Dallas get into the flow of things attacking-wise, with now Farrington leading the line. Although it's Julio and Farrington clearly up there in a 2-man front line as Julio receives it from Martin Paz, brings it down, and a throng of Seattle players around him. Wins possession back for the visiting side.
Yeah, it's not been a good night for Julio that time. He just needed to know what was around him. He tried to dribble inside, and he just dribbled right into a triangle of 3 Seattle players.
Farrington leads the press here against Keehee. Experienced South Korean who was with the club for their most successful run, now back in Seattle. Here's Farrington running at him, edge of the 18, and Keehee there just comes across and gets it right.
And that little budding chance there created because Logan Farrington just being very aggressive in the press and helping create a turnover.
Big opportunity for him. We don't know anything at this point besides that it was an ankle injury for Petar Musa. Ibiaga on the ball here, out to Shaq Moore. And back now to Martin Paz. Ball towards the front line, taken down on the chest by Julio, who's flagged for offside. Nuhu taking a few extra yards forward before he takes the free kick into the midfield for Leyva. Bounce back towards Yamar. Now here's Vargas on the turn. Vargas lifts it out to the far side. Rothrock, heavy first touch. going to have to clean it up now. Still in possession near the corner flag. On his favored right foot, back to Nuhu. His left foot swings it in, header won by Ibiaga. The Dallas center back duo so good in aerial duels this season, amongst the league leaders in those situations. Norris down the line for Lucho Acosta. Trying to play through tight quarters here. Lucho finds Patrickson, now space ahead of him, but a heavy touch. He couldn't receive it on the turn. As Julio's going to chase this back pass towards Fry. Put him under some pressure there. Fry plays out towards Rothrock on the far side. Neymar there, loose ball, nearly picked off by Lucho Acosta, but it breaks back through for Stephen Fry. Those moments in the first 10-15 minutes popped up for FC Dallas. And now we're starting to see, maybe with Farrington in there, some more energy in the press. Nuhu down the line, lifted towards Musovski. Loose ball recovered by Nolan Norris. Back to Martin Pass, plays out, finds Aragide popping up in the left back spot, but just got it wrong there. Let the ball run through. And a pass intended for Jesus Ferreira is cut out there by Ibiaga. Disjointed moment in the game here as Ramiro loses his footing and brings Vargas down. And this is a free kick in shooting range.
It's interesting. You call it a disjointed moment. I think it's been a disjointed 6 minutes. It's the game has really lost some shape out there.
Just really haven't seen issues like this at Toyota Stadium when players just can't stay on their feet.
Some of that, though, is because Dallas's midfield and back line has been just a little out of shape, and so we've seen several players scrambling, trying to...
They're skating. They look like they're on ice skates out there. And Ferreira is going to have his eyes on this free kick opportunity. Scored a few in Dallas colors as he amassed over 50 goals for his hometown side. This one, that
28 yards?
Pretty much central, 28 yards, a little bit off towards where you'd want it if you're a right footer. Shaded towards the far side. Dallas set 5 players in the wall. Martin Pass ready for the free kick from Ferreira. Nuhu there to offer the left-footed option, but you think this is going to be the Seattle number 9. And it is. Short run up and right into the wall, defended by Farrington. Pretty poor effort there, to be honest.
Yeah, that hit somebody in the stomach or in the chest.
In a week that was delightful for rewatches of certain free kicks around the world. Here's a Julio flick on, finds Lucho, return to him. Acosta whistled for a handball. And Acosta beside himself, still in pursuit of Dujic to try and make his case. If it's not one thing, it's another, bringing a halt to these Dallas attacks at the moment. I'm going to look at the replay now. It's just not a handball. It's come off his shoulder area, didn't even reach the captain's armband on his bicep.
Maybe he let Yamar make the call on that one. Yamar immediately yelling for the handball.
Fry going to launch this one long. Musovski, Aragide tangled. Aragide wins the header. Vargas turns back to Kihi in the midfield for Roldan. Miro goes hunting there. Got a foot on the ball. Spreads wide now for Rothrock.
Dallas pretty aggressive in the press and in the tackle right now. I'd say they might have gotten a little talking to at halftime.
Diagonal over the top from Kihi, looking for Kosariense, and that one goes all the way through for a goal kick. You can watch every FC Dallas game when you want and where you want with MLS Season Pass. The game is in your hands and you're in control. From exclusive player profiles to game highlights, along with every FC Dallas match streamed to your device, MLS Season Pass has something for everyone. Visit apple.co/FC Dallas to learn more.
You know, Ryan, what sustained Seattle all these years is the organization plus the effort. Both those things together always makes them very hard to play against. And so maybe Quill thought Dallas wasn't matching their effort out here.
And looks like they're set to make their next 2 changes here in a moment. Building up right to left. Nice exchange of passes on the edge of the 18. As Farrington looking for the run of Julio. As Dallas actually put together a cohesive build up there. And ironically enough, Acosta nowhere near it. He was out here on the near side. And eventually broke for Farrington, who tried to feed the pass through. It's Leo Chu, who is playing tonight against his former team, and it's Sho, who will make his season debut by the looks of things here momentarily.
You would think that'd be for Kaike, who's probably not 90 minutes match fit.
I wonder if Leo Chu means a change of shape like we saw against Atlanta. Norris.
Oh, we sort of speculated that's exactly what would happen, and I think they probably need it.
Right now it's Norris trying to spread the width. Delgado receives it in his normal left back spot. Urguide into midfield for Ramiro. Back to Urguide, back to Paz. Ramiro, ball forward, nice between the lines, finds Kaike. He's going to put this one in behind, looking for the run of Farrington. First touch was from Nuhu, and second touch from Yamar puts it out of play. Jack Moore throwing into Ramiro, puts it forward to the chest of Logan Farrington, who goes down, wins a free kick from Keehee.
That's Logan Farrington, that's what he does. He wins those free kicks.
Let's go back and really do a deep dive. If he's ever gone a game, even a short appearance, without winning a free kick.
I doubt it.
He came on, what, for 30 seconds against Atlanta? I'm pretty sure he won a free kick last week, too.
Like immediately.
This will be an attacking set piece as the Dallas substitutes wait to enter the match. Lucho Acosta has it on the far side with 2 arms raised. Dallas targets make their way across the edge of the 18 of the Seattle Sounders. Acosta now on the approach. Airs it out towards the back post. Ibeagha wins the first header into the danger area, defended away by Nuhu. Second ball won by Ramiro, back into the area. Norris challenging for it. Now Urguide, edge of the 18, brings it down. Set back for Ramiro, who's just going to put his foot through it. And Seattle has numbers to break if Fry can get this one out of his feet. Julio prevents him from doing so. And smartly so, also avoids a yellow card. That was the best chance of the night so far for Dallas. Ibeagha winning that header, putting it back right underneath the crossbar of Seattle.
Yeah, but that's saying a lot when a header put back across face of goal, looking for another teammate when that's your best chance.
And now we'll get the changes as Patrickson and Kaike will be replaced. Sho makes his season debut, the Angolan. And Leo Chu against his former team with something to prove tonight. Scored in the last home match for Dallas, and they need something of that nature from him tonight as he enters here in the 58th minute.
So it looks like Julio's going to play left side. Chu goes to the right, and it does look like they're going to the 4-2-3-1.
First look at Sho all season, but first look at him and Ramiro together as well. They do both speak Portuguese. If you're unfamiliar with Angola, that's the native language there, or the official language at least.
The thing is, Ryan, they both can't forget to play defense. Otherwise, Dallas is going to get caught defending with 6, which is exactly where they are right now.
Spread out wide for Rothrock on the far side. Faces up Shaq Moore onto his right foot. Now edge of the area. Vargas, low shot off the post again. And how about that? It's Musovski again to turn home. But this time the flag does go up.
Ryan, I hate when I'm that correct, but doggone it, you can't defend with 6. It just, both wingers just decided just to sort of walk back, and Seattle almost made a pay right there.
And it was a carbon copy moment of the goal in the first half. This time it was Vargas, the shot from outside the 18. And I'll tell you what, this is a close call with Norris, the furthest Dallas player back. I think he's off.
It's going to be hard for them to. It's going to be hard for them to conclusively say that he wasn't. The key there being that the flag was raised. Similarly, if the flag wasn't raised, it would be hard for them to say that it was off.
Mashofsky, just on positioning alone, has got 2 tap-in opportunities tonight. As we wait, and now we will play on. The goal officially ruled out for offside. Nolan Norris driving into midfield here from left back. Pokes out wide for Ramiro. Ramiro turns past Ferreira. Now ball into the middle, taken down off the chest by Lucho Acosta. Tries to get away from Leyva. Had a fistful of jersey, and the whistle goes against the Sounders man right on the halfway line. Show forward to Julio, flicked out to Nolan Norris. For options in the middle, nobody making a run for a cross at that point. Now Ramiro bends the ball in behind the Seattle backline, looking for Shaq Moore. Rothrock attentive to his defensive duties, and then Show commits a foul, trying to pick up the second ball. Dallas 2 wins, 2 draws, and 1 loss when conceding first this season. They've made a habit of it 5 times already, making it 6 tonight. They've got 30 minutes to try and improve that record of 8 points gained from losing positions. Fry goes long. Rothrock's the one interested. Ibiaga wins the first header. Shaq Moore is trying to shield it out of play. Last touch eventually came off of Rothrock. It's fortunate for Dallas. We will take the goal kick. Rothrock still disagrees with the decision as we play on.
Dallas might have gotten away with one there.
Norris down the line looking for Julio, holding off his man. Back to Show. First time pass for Nolan Norris. Dallas moving it across the back line here, out to Shaq Moore on the far side. Moore going to go direct, looking for the run of Farrington. Keehee gets the first touch to it. Content to put it out of play on the far side for a throw.
That's the thing. Dallas hasn't been able to go vertical quickly tonight. That's because Seattle is very good about pressing, and when you can press correctly, you don't really have the opportunity to look up and make those early vertical passes.
Urquide drives forward, finds Norris. Head to Julio, now playing wide on the left. Julio, a couple of passes there with Ramiro. Back to Julio. Tries to receive it on the turn. Norris finds Lucho Acosta driving up the left side. Turns past 1. Lucho inside the box now past 2. Set back for Julio. Looking for a lane to shoot. Plays it out in front of Nolan Norris, who's going to bend across into the danger area. Shaq Moore diving header attempt. And the whistle goes for a free kick against Dallas. The shot was blocked off the head of Shaq Moore.
A good combination work there along the left side. And Norris putting a ball in a really dangerous area. Having to hustle to get to that ball right before it meets the end line, and he put a great cross in right at the 5.
I'm not sure where the foul comes in here.
He's on his back a little bit. He gets the arm extended, and once you get the arm extended there on Nuhu, it makes it a pretty easy call for Duwich.
Nuhu's now played 200 MLS games in his 9th season out of Cameroon. So many players amongst the Seattle ranks with that incredible amount of experience, winning experience too. Ball again with Norris, left back. Now wide for Lucho Acosta, has popped up again on the left side more and more here in the second half. Farrington receives it inside his own half. Now Lucho Acosta off the outside of the right foot, ball in behind for Julio. And Stephen Fry out off his line, able to pick that one up.
That's a good idea outside of the ball, outside of the right foot pass from Acosta. Just didn't quite get the angle right.
Dallas changes not quite as inspired as it was in Atlanta when they immediately were able to answer back and find the equalizing goal.
but they've sort of found a shape as Show goes in with his cleats up and gets a yellow card. They sort of found a shape, though, I think, and they're owning the ball right now, and I think they can cause some trouble.
Another one where Show got the ball, but he went in a certain way and caught the Seattle player. It was Show in possession of the ball, heavy touch, then he put his foot through it, and then he put his foot through Obed Vargas as well. Tough tackle there. He's the latest into the referee's book here in the 65th minute.
Yeah, remember, Seattle just absolutely desperate. Sitting here, match week 8, they've got 1 win. They've got a lead on the road right now, so they're gonna take every opportunity to slow the game down a little bit. Not saying that the player's that he's not actually hurt, but if you're a little hurt, you're gonna be a lot hurt, and if you're not even a little hurt, you might just think you're a little hurt.
Training staff still tending to Obed Vargas here. Now helping him back to his feet.
And because there was a foul and a caution on the play, he can take some treatment and he doesn't have to come off the field.
Lucho Acosta makes his way from a conversation with both Eric Quill and the fourth official. We're about to resume things here. Vargas is going to stay on the field. Fry sends the troops down the field, and he's going to launch this one long. Looking for the run of Rothrock on the far side, moving from the wing in towards the striker role. Header won by Dallas, second ball being contested now. Leyva goes in, and Urguide, in a very similar situation, is fouled there on the follow-through, and the yellow card's out for Danny Leyva now. Another situation where the ball just out of reach, or maybe just within reach for the player, but they exposed the studs.
And Danny Leyva's now already been into a couple of combative tackles. Urguide is okay on that one. Leyva got him pretty good, but now Leyva's got to be careful. Yellow card just really mounting in this one.
Leyva replaced Pedro de la Vega at the break, playing on the right side of midfield for Seattle. Show and Ramiro trying to work their way through midfield. Drop of the shoulder from Show, opens up some space. He rolls it ahead for Lucho, who's played it out wide here for Shaq Moore. Lucho gets it back from Moore, and he wins a free kick.
Jesus Ferreira that time on the foul.
Ferreira chasing against Acosta here, who finds the ball ahead for Chu. Nice combination, trying to spring Farrington. He's looked every bit of his experience since coming in. Good work from Chu there to keep it. Back to Ramiro. Ramiro ahead for Lucho Acosta in the left half space, out wide for Nolan Norris. Ramiro again finds Lucho Acosta. Dallas finally getting the ball moving here. And a handball whistled against Seattle right on the edge of the penalty area, and Kosiriensi pleads his innocence, but this one is a very dangerous opportunity for Lucho Acosta on the ball. And it was a handball on the replay.
And it's right at the corner, the left corner of the penalty area.
Pretty much on the dot where the two lines meet. Lucho Acosta will line this one up, and this is one where you can put that whip on it towards the back post, and whether it gets a touch or not, have a chance to beat the goalkeeper. 7 targets in the area for Dallas. Acosta stands over it on the corner of the 18. 3-man wall for Seattle. Set 10 yards away. The referee, Filip Dujic, moved a step to the right. Veteran goalkeeper Stefan Fry. Fry shades more towards the back post here as the Seattle line is set up pretty much even with the penalty spot. Referee's whistle sounds, and now it's over to Acosta. bending towards the near post, trying to catch Fry unaware. And that one ends up wrong side of the near post.
Yeah, he got it up and down, didn't he? But he just couldn't get the angle on it right, and it misses by about a foot at the near post.
And Fry sort of was onto him a little bit too. He's immediately across.
Just before the free kick, I was recalling a goal at a worse angle from that Jesus Ferreira took in a playoff game and beat Stefan Fry. That beat him at the back post, sort of caught him unaware.
Played just about 70 minutes now at Toyota Stadium, and it's Seattle in front 1-0. A goal from Danny Musovski in the first half. Turned home a rebound off the shot from De La Vega. Dallas going to make 2 more changes here in just a few minutes. Looks like Pedrinho and Siki and Sabling getting their jerseys on. That will be the final 2 changes for Dallas tonight.
Those are clearly attack-minded changes as Dallas is just going to abandon most defensive ploys here and just go all out on attack.
Really good work from Shaq Moore, driving forward from right back. And now he's got something going for Dallas, going the other way. Out to Anderson Julio here on the near side. Overlap run comes from Nolan Norris. Julio into the 18 now. Cut back. Appeals for a handball on the cross. Nothing given. And now Seattle play out of pressure. Nuhu, full sprint forward. Now cuts back against his former teammate Leo Chu. Nuhu stayed forward here, and it's a 2-man break with he and Jesus Ferreira. Ferreira receives it and puts the ball in behind, looking for Musovski. Well read by Nolan Norris.
And Nolan Norris having another good game at left back.
There's the first chance maybe for Leo Chu to run at his defender. Plays it ahead for Farrington. A lot of space for Farrington out wide on the right. And now Leo Chu busting along to get inside the 18. Farrington, corner of the box. Plays it back for Lucho Acosta. Now Farrington, again, edge of the box, makes his way inside the 18. Trying to make his way around Christian Roldan. And he's won a corner. Great work from Farrington there not to give up on that one.
Yeah, it really looked like a lost cause that somehow he was able to get to it and create a corner kick out of it.
And Seattle have a player down in both boxes right now. I think it's Musovski at one end. I'm not sure who's getting help from a teammate there for a cramp at the other end, but looks like Seattle will make 2 more changes alongside Dallas's pair of alterations. And this is going to take a while. Referee ran all the way across, asked Musovski if he wants the trainer to come on. Now the trainer's coming on. We know he's going to be replaced. And is Costa Riense down in the other area as well? Don't know how many trainers they traveled with.
I don't know, but for Seattle, I believe both of these players are going to have to sit out for a minute.
Well, they're both going to be replaced, I think. That's the key.
Yes, you're right.
And that's where the gamesmanship comes in. And we're getting a look at the work from Farrington to win this corner. It was a fantastic effort. Chasing it all the way to the end line and sliding around Roldan, then kicking it off him and behind for a corner. Siki and Sabling off the bench 6 times this season. Didn't play last week. And he's going to get a chance to make an impact here, as is Pedrinho. He's got 3 appearances on the season, 1 goal in Colorado in week 2. And we'll see what the shape looks like after these further alterations. But first we've got the corner to deal with, as both teams have 2 players set to enter. Seattle will have to defend a man light with Musovski off the field. So a momentary power play here for Dallas, and they've got the set piece as well. And that, never mind. Baker Whiting enters the match. And as does Cody Baker, so 2 defensive players on. Striker removed and a wingback removed. You'll see where Brian Schmetzer's head is at here. The lead on the road. Lucho Acosta, 2 arms raised on the far side. Waiting for the referee's whistle. And he goes short to Anderson Julio. Laid back to him. Here's Lucho Acosta off the left foot, and that one had some decent bend on it, but it broke for Stefan Fry, who's now come up hobbled.
At least it gave Stefan Fry something to do back there. Dallas just hasn't been able to test the Seattle keeper tonight.
As it stands, he's got a clean sheet here at Toyota Stadium. As he launches this one long, unbothered by that limp moments ago. Norris wins the header. Second header won by Urquide, flicked on by Show, finds Farrington. Farrington trying to take it on the turn there, but can't get past Roldan. And then Show commits a foul against Leyva, who then trips him up immediately. Both of those two on a yellow card. We'll see if this is the moment now for Dallas to make those changes in the 75th minute. So it will be Norris replaced by Pedrinho. And Ramiro replaced by Nsabaling. So this is a very, very attacking lineup here with 15 plus stoppage time to go. As the substitutes bring some instruction for their teammates as to how this shape is going to work. Leyva bends this one in behind, looking for Rothrock. Rothrock in pursuit, but Martin Poss off his line. Ibihaga clapping to his teammates. Only he and Urquide were really switched on to defend there. Here's Nsabaling coming from the left back space. Lifts this one in behind for Farrington. And it's not going to quite reach Fry in the 18. He steps out of the box and puts his foot through it out of play. Costa takes the throw and then smacks it off. Roldan out for another throw.
Well, Ryan, I'm trying to figure out for you who's playing left back for Dallas right now, and it might be Siki and Nsabaling, I'm not sure.
Acosta trying to switch the play out to Shaq Moore, who's now caught forward as the ball was under hit. And there is no one out at left back at the moment. As Rothrock received it, Urquide stood 20 yards away from him, stared him down, and then blocked the cross. And it may well be a Siki and Nsabaling substitution at left back. That would be the first time we've seen that. Dallas, I mean, you look at the bench, there is no fullback option on the bench. Marco Farfan out for an extended period of time. Norris was his substitute, thrust into the lineup.
Yeah, I would have expected maybe one of the wingers to go out there and play it as opposed to Siki and Nsabaling, but we'll see. Looks like it is Siki.
And here's the ball to find Leyva. Leyva turns past one at the edge of the 18. Ferreira inside the box now, set back for Vargas. Nuhu lines up a shot from distance, blocked by Pedrinho. And Pedrinho picks up the second ball as well. And a handful of jersey there for Reed Baker Whiting to prevent Dallas from any opportunity to counterattack there.
So I guess Siki is going to try to go interior when Dallas has possession, but it's not going to work because of this.
There's a tough ball to deal with there for Urquide. Took a heavy touch off the chest, gave it to Seattle, but Seattle unable to do anything with it.
But you've got to have somebody to provide some kind of width. You can't have everybody just flood right into the middle.
Pedrinho trying to bend the ball in behind. Julio will give chase. Fry out off his line. Puts it out of play for a throw. Farrington, as busy as he can be in his time on the field, been pretty quiet. Trying to get involved here. Pedrinho, nice dribbling on the far side into the 18 now. Ahead for Lucho Acosta, and that should be a corner kick. No, it'll be a goal kick. Nuhu winning his appeal with the referee there. Good involvement from Pedrinho off the bench.
Yeah, good early moment from Pedrinho, but everything tonight is just flooded right into the middle. You know, Nolan Norris a couple of times on the left side getting some crosses in, but really nothing happening out wide on the right side, and so Seattle's just able to stay compact and really just prevent Dallas from doing anything dangerous in there.
Fry going long from the goal kick here in the 79th minute. Header won by Nsableng. Second header won by Yamar. It's that one in the direction of Ferreira, but it nodded back by Ibiaga for Martin Pass.
We'll touch on this in the post-game show, but we've talked about how Dallas structurally just hasn't looked great this year, but they're doing it on individual moments so far. And you can say a lot for that, and that will take you a long way, but eventually it's not sustainable, and we might be seeing that for the first time tonight.
A nice ball there from Leo Chu to switch the play out to Pedrinho. Now ahead for Shaq Moore, bombing forward from right back. Runners in the area, cut back for Pedrinho. First time cross blocked there by Nuhu. And now there may be a counter on for Seattle. Ferreira puts it in behind Nuhu in a foot race with Ibiaga, and Ibiaga showing his top speed there. Oh, and that's a reckless tackle from Nuhu, who's somehow going to escape a booking here. I mean, that's a leg breaker.
I don't know what Philip Dujic might have been looking at there. I think it was more clumsy. It was aggressive and clumsy, and it absolutely should be a yellow card.
Dujic now makes his way across to Nuhu.
Well, that's fine.
And doesn't give a yellow card.
To give him a talking to, but I mean,
that's ridiculous.
It doesn't help Ibiaga, does it?
Ibiaga's lucky that his foot is still pointing in the right direction with the amount of weight that Nuhu just landed on him. We play on. 81st minute, Dallas in search of an equalizer. Nsableng trying to provide the inspiration off the bench. On the dribble up the left side, finds Lucho. Ahead to Nsableng. Lucho trying to get on the loose ball. He goes to ground, and there's numbers again in the attack for Seattle, as Dallas have two players down at the other end, and Lucho and Siki now picking themselves back up. Rothrock muscled off it there by Uragide, and then Uragide keeps it in play. Great work from him. Again, I think he's probably been the best Dallas player tonight.
Yes, I agree.
And another just baffling decision.
Yeah, look, I know Dallas is frustrated, but look, they've got 10 minutes. They've got to find another shot on goal. They got one so far.
The decision was a throw for Seattle, which they take. Cody Baker, another homegrown recent substitute into this game, playing on the right side. Here's Leyva, head for Obed Vargas. All of these coming through the Seattle Academy. Obed Vargas, the recent crown jewel. He's to the touchline here, matched up with Uragide. And Uragide just bites in with a tackle and wins back possession. Ball ahead for Lucho Acosta, wins a free kick and tries to go quickly. Blocked by Yamar. And so Lucho will retake it. Into the feet of Farrington. Tries to set it back for Nsableng, and just the disjointed.
Yeah, Ryan, I understand. Here, I'll let you take it back here.
Ferreira balling behind for Rothrock. Sliding tackle there from Ibiaga. Rothrock stays on it, gets the shot away, blocked by Ibiaga. And now Pedrinho can drive forward right through the middle of the field. Runners either side of him, poked wide for Julio. Julio cuts past Jesus Ferreira. Now he's picked it up centrally. Out wide left for Lucho Acosta. Overlap from Leo Chu. Lucho Acosta on the dribble. Corner of the box. Now Leo Chu. Good ball in towards Farrington, just over his head. Second effort for Shaq Moore. He receives it inside the 18. Baker Whiting leaning on him. Shaq Moore gets the cross in. Farrington brings it down inside the 18. Bit of a kerfuffle, eventually behind for a corner.
Well, it might just take a scramble goal, because what I was going to say is, as Dallas made the change to the 4-2-3-1, I thought they had some possession and were pushing Seattle back. Then they made the other changes, and it's just all gone to pieces now. It just looks like a mess out there.
Lucho Acosta from the far side, readies the corner. In towards the penalty spot, over everybody's head. And a Dallas jersey tonight. Second ball picked up by Pedrinho into the feet of Julio, edge of the 18. Set back for show, now wide again with Pedrinho. Tried to return it to him, but lost his footing.
That's just not smart. Pedrinho had two chances to cross the ball with the center backs forward, and he didn't take either one of them.
And now Rothrock drives the Sounders forward at the other end. Baker Whiting has to switch the play out to Danny Leyva. Now Jesus Ferreira inside the 18. Ferreira on the turn, saved by Martin Pass. Haven't said Jesus Ferreira's name all too often tonight. That was an opportunity for him.
Anderson Julio's cramping out there, but Dallas out of sub windows.
As it's headed back to Stephen Fry. If it's going to come down to a scramble goal, you've got Farrington out there, who I think might be one of the best in the business in that type of scenario.
He's a scrambler. He's the one that creates the scramble.
As Dallas have 6 minutes plus stoppage time to avoid a third home defeat. Just the one win here at Toyota Stadium against Kansas City last time out here in Frisco. Sounders will have a throw here just in front of Eric Quill. Taken by Baker down the line, but that one without a name attached, and it spins out for a Dallas throw near the corner flag.
Anderson Julio over on the sideline getting some goo or whatever his injury replacement of choice is.
Magic spray. Rothrock through the legs of Urquidy. Ferreira waits in the middle, and important defending there from Ibiaga to block the cross behind for a corner.
Nah, it's not magic spray. He's cramping. He needs fluids.
And he's still in conversation with the Dallas bench, but they can't replace him.
And you just wonder, should he have been one of the subs?
Dallas have a corner kick to defend. A goal here for Seattle would be a dagger. Leiva readies it from the near side. Outswinger from Danny Leiva in towards the middle and off the line. Great work there from Shaq Moore. As the header was won. I'm trying to see who got the effort on target. I think it was Baker Whiting.
Third time tonight, Seattle has hit the post of the crossbar.
Came off the post and then was headed for the back of the net if it wasn't for Shaq Moore, as there's some afters here between Rothrock, Acosta, and Co. Acosta wanted the ball, wanted to get back going, and Rothrock was holding on to it as long as he could here.
Urquidy came over and shoved Rothrock. I think he's about to go in the book. I can't tell whether Filip Dujic has his card out or not. Filip Dujic needed to be more in control of this game right from the jump.
I'll tell you what, he might have the highest word count on the season of any referee I've seen. No cards from all that, just maybe 25 more words from the referee. That's what we came to listen to in here.
Well, in this case, I'm happy because I think it would have been Urquidy that would have seen it for Dallas, and we don't want to see those start piling up for him. He's just way too important.
Seattle have one more change to make, and looks like they will here momentarily as Dallas resumes play. Urquidy on the dribble forward, out to Sabling. No matter who it's been on the Dallas left, it feels like they only receive it facing their own goal, and there just has been no progression up that side tonight.
I mean, I thought, Nolan Norris was doing okay at getting out. He maybe wasn't progressing up there, but he wasn't losing the ball either.
Shaq Moore whistled for a foul going through the back. Baker Whiting.
Well, the one thing you would say about for FC Dallas right now, there will be quite a bit of stoppage time, I would believe.
Rothrock will be replaced here by Georgi Manungu. Another one who came through the Tacoma Defiant system for Seattle. This is his second season with the first team. He's going to set up on the right wing, and that is dangerous for Dallas, who are playing without a left back right now, and Manungu has some serious pace.
It's Leo Chu over there right now, and I think that's a. Now I'm looking at a shape that's got Siki playing alongside Show, and that's sort of more what you think. And Leo Chu is the left back. That makes more sense to me.
Baker Whiting tries to find a way around Shaq Moore, but it runs behind for a goal kick. Martin Poss gets it back rolling, short to Ibiaga. Show receives it here. Time on the ball. Seattle sitting in a strong mid block right now. Dallas back line with time on the ball, but as soon as they advance it, the pressure is on.
That's what I said a while ago. Seattle, you know, they're organized and they work hard, so it makes it tough.
Leo Chu receives it here. Now driving from outside to in. Finds the feet of Julio, who didn't really actually have a defender around him. Maybe he thought he did. Tried to play a one-touch pass off the mark. And now there's a chance here. Numbers in the attack for Seattle. Manungu. Ball ahead for Jesus Ferreira. Ferreira looking for the near post, and that one ends up wide, and the flag was up anyway. And that goal that would hurt the hearts of Dallas fans feels like it may be inevitable the way this final few minutes is played out. Ferreira starting to get chances in 2v1, 3v1 situations. As we're 30 minutes away from finding out how much longer we'll play. Shackmore, ball ahead for Lucho Acosta on the turn. They can't get past Obed Vargas, and it has not been a good Lucho Acosta night tonight. Now it's Sabling at full speed trying to retrieve the ball from Manungu. And Sabling does go in and win the ball well with help from Urigide. And Urigide is fouled by the recent substitute. And 6 minutes go on the board. So we've got 6 minutes. Try and rescue at least a point here at home. Acosta receives it on the near side on the halfway line. Tries to go through the defender there and wins the throw. Acosta takes the throw back to Urigide. Show on the turn on the halfway line. Ball in behind from Acosta for Leo Chu. Leo Chu towards the end line. Low ball in towards the middle, and Julio has an effort, and it's blocked off target. I think that was goal bound. It's going to be a corner.
Good job there by Leo Chu of whizzing a ball across the face of the goal. There's 6 minutes of stoppage time, by the way.
Dallas will have a corner from the near side now.
Couldn't see who got the block in for Seattle, though.
Referee holding it maybe for a handball check. And of course, then he's got to go get in between the two teams. Now it's Nuhu and Ibiaga exchanging words. Yamar's pulling Nuhu back. Got a job to do here. As the clock ticks down, it does favor Seattle, who have the lead here on the road.
Duach has to understand the moment here. He's getting in there and letting Seattle create this chaos and confusion, and he's just got to back out and say, play on.
Remember, Nuhu should be on a yellow card from a foul against Ibiaga earlier in the half. And now we've played almost 2 minutes without playing much soccer at all of the 6.
It's unbelievable now. He just has to let him go. And if he sees a foul, then he has to call it.
Acosta now swings it in towards Stefan Fry. Fry claims it and then clatters into the post. And referee's whistle sounded. Check on him, but he was fine to play on. And now he has it back in hand. That Anderson Julio chance there. Probably the best true shot of the game for Dallas. Could have been the equalizing goal. Long ball out towards Manungu. Can't keep it in play. And as the season wraps up, later on, October, November, this will not be one to remember, even if Dallas scratches out an equalizer here in stoppage time. As we've played 3 of the 6. Urigide switching it out to the far side for Shackmore. More wide right to Pedrinho. He's going to drive from outside to in. A heavy touch, but it ran into Roldan, but managed to keep it. And managed to turn past another defender as well. Now out to Lucho Acosta. Back to Pedrinho. Pedrinho goes for the back heel. And he's won the second ball back. And then cleared away by Christian Roldan. Pedrinho's looked like maybe he could provide the spark. Urquide goes direct, looking for Farrington. Header won by Yeimar. Second ball picked up by Lucho Acosta on the near side, still further from goal than you'd like him, and dealing with 3 defenders and winning a free kick. And this will be another opportunity from a set piece here in the 94th minute to try and snatch something. Martin passes forward. He leaves the net empty at the other end. Wouldn't that be something if Pos could get his head on this one? 2 men in the Seattle wall. This one way wide here on the near side for Lucho Acosta to bend into the box.
I need a good delivery here, Ryan.
Especially with the goalkeeper forward. Only Shaq Moore is back in any kind of defensive position. Everybody else interested in an equalizer. Here's Lucho Acosta, and he just got under it. It's over the bar, and it's awful. Not the Acosta.
It's not his night. It's not Dallas's night.
They've only had one night so far at home, now in 4 attempts. Unbeaten on the road, and that's going to serve them well over the next 3 weeks as they go to Minnesota, to Miami, to San Diego. They've got some things to figure out here at Toyota Stadium. Stefan Frei goes long. Header won by Ibiaga. Second ball launched ahead by Baker Whiting. Urquide wins another header, flicked on by Farrington, and then Yeimar just puts his foot through it. Ball with Pedrinho on the far side in what may be the final minute of action tonight. Pedrinho making his way across the halfway line, out to Acosta on this near side. Acosta driving outside to in, ahead to Pedrinho, tries to receive it on the turn. Roldan there, sends it further clear.
It's not time for Pedrinho's tricks and flicks. He's just got to collect the ball and move it along into a better spot right now.
And Sabaling into the feet of Leo Chu. Leo Chu had a couple of bright moments off the bench tonight, flashing some crosses in. Manungu just pulled up the brakes there, and he's won a free kick right in front of the Seattle bench. And that is all. As the final whistle sounds at 96 minutes, and it's the first half goal from Danny Musovski, which means the 3 points will head home with the Seattle Sounders tonight, as Dallas's struggles at home now starting to become more and more of a concern. We'll talk about it on the post-game show. We thank you so much for sticking with us tonight on the broadcast as this one ends. Seattle 1, Dallas nothing.
So, what'd you do this weekend?
Well, just took the Tacoma off-road, deep into the woods, got to this hidden campsite only it could reach.
Nice. I hooked up the boat to the Tundra and hit up the lake. Towed it like a pro. Had the whole lake to ourselves.
Hey, wait, did I mention I went rock climbing too? Uh-huh, yeah, thanks to the Tacoma's crawl control.
Well, sounds like we both had fun weekends.
Mine was better.
The Toyota Tundra and Tacoma are built for all the fun. Test drive at your local Toyota dealer or visit Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. Feature availability differs based on trim. See Toyota.com for details.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
UT